What up, what up, what up, what up, everybody? How we doing? Happy, what day is it today? Is it Wednesday? Happy Wednesday. It's October. It's spooky season. Spooky season. Maybe I should have played the spooky season song we got on our gaming channel. But we'll be playing spooky. It's kind of spooky season in the government, spooky season in general. How we doing, you guys? Hello, hello. We got a Temu ad. A Temu ad. Today we're gonna be lighting a candle. I got lavender woods. That's the offering I got for today, for the government and for our situation. I'm gonna have some lavender woods going while we're reacting to everything going on. Check into the stream, you guys. Let me know where you're tuned in from, what city, what state, where in the world are you watching from, and say hello. Check in, check in. Hello, Leah. We all need calm for sure. Said spooky season in the government. Haha. Hello, hello. Sounds lovely. Yes, yes. For spooky season. Spooky season. We were playing horror games on our gaming channel. I can't wait to start going to some pumpkin patches, maybe an apple orchard here and there, you know, something to get outside and enjoy the fall. But in Minnesota, it's been hard to enjoy the fall because it's like summer. Fall, it's like October 1st. September came and went, and we didn't get any, like, we got like a couple days of chill weather, but I mean, it's pretty hot outside. It's like full on summertime still. So we got that going on. I hope you guys are having a good week so far. But as you guys know, we have the government has been shut down. The American government is shut down right now as of 12:01 a.m. this morning. A vote to end the government shutdown hours after it began failed on Wednesday, as Democrats in the Senate held firm to the party's demands to fund health care subsidies that President Trump and Republicans refuse to provide. Okay, ironically, it's about the Affordable Care Act and the ACA and funding going to the ACA, which is one of the reasons why the government shut down back in 2013 to get the ACA through when Obama was president. And the last time the government shut down was when Trump was president back in 2018, 2019. So we've had Trump president twice, and in each of his terms, we've had the government shut down. And this is on the Republican Party. They control the Senate, they control the House, they control the presidency, they control the Supreme Court, and they have their deal maker in chief or whatever, who's just so good at making deals, and they couldn't do it. Okay? They couldn't do it to help fund the ACA. And you got Republicans that are lying. Okay, they're lying about the funding, saying that it's going to go into illegal immigrants. And that's what I tell you guys, that they blur the line. Republicans are they, when I say they, Republicans blur the line of legal and illegal immigration. And they lie when they say they support legal immigration. They don't. They don't want any of it. They just have to say that because whatever. Because then they'll give away their hand. So you had the GOP posting the provisions, and it's even in here, okay? And they do this game where they highlight things because people will go, oh, they highlight the health? Okay, health. Okay. That says health. And then they highlighted this part, alien Medicaid eligibility. See? I knew those dirty Democrats were up to something. I knew it. They got the ACA for the illegals. The illegals are getting the ACA. And then you click here, and they're like, wow, alien Medicaid eligibility. But then they don't read the fine print. They don't read anything after that. So I will for you. Medicaid, Section 1903 of the Social Security Act, in paragraph 1, by striking and inserting 4 and 5, by adding at the end of the following new paragraph, notwithstanding the preceding paragraphs of this subsection beginning on October 1st, 2026, accepted as provided the paragraphs of blah, 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 state under this blah, 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 blah. 1. A, eligibility is a resident of one of the 50 states, the District of Columbia, or territory of the United States, so a citizen. 2, a citizen or national of the United States. 3, an alien lawfully admitted. It's literally in there, but Republicans just highlight the alien part because, again, in their propaganda and right-wing media, all immigrants are the same. They only cover undocumented immigrants and immigrants that are committing crimes. So it creates a reality in right-wing world that all immigrants are illegal. They don't care. They can say, yeah, we support, yeah, we support all the legal pathways for immigrants to cross over, but then they don't. They don't at all. They hate immigrants. Okay, they hate anyone that isn't a Christian white nationalist. They being the GOP. An alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence as an immigrant, as defined by sections 101A15 and 101A20 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, excluding among others alien visitors, tourists, diplomats, and students who enter the United States temporarily with no intention of abandoning their residence in a foreign country. Excluding. So if you're a part of those, if you're a visitor, if you are a tourist, if you're a diplomat, and if you're a student that's intending on not being a U.S. citizen or staying here, you're excluded. 3, an alien who has been granted the status of Cuban and Haitian entrant, as defined in Section 501 of the Refugee Education Assistance Act. So you got to be, if you're Cuban or Haitian, you can get that, apparently. There you go. But again, legal. An individual who lawfully resides in the United States, an individual who lawfully resides in the United States in occurrence when excuse me, because I highlighted over that. In accordance with the Compact of Free Association referred in Section 402 of the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996. None of that says illegal immigrants, undocumented, well, it would say undocumented aliens. That's still the language that's being used. So it would say undocumented aliens are receiving the health care. They're receiving and they're not. So once again, as usual, like always, only every single day, Republicans are lying. If a Republican is speaking, they're lying. Okay? They're like lies. Even when they show you the truth. Like then this is like what they did with Project 2025. They were like, we don't know anything about Project 2025. What is that? I don't know shit about that. What's that mean? And then Republicans play this game like, yeah, sure. We have such a cult. We have such a cult to where we'll literally post what it says, knowing that they're only going to read what we highlight, and they're going to take it for what it is. I had to debunk, or I don't have to debunk shit for these people, but I do it because it's fun, honestly. It's fun, like, watching them squirm because they lie about everything. But just yesterday, or was it yesterday or 2 days ago, you had MAGA, coping about the shooter and terrorist in Michigan. Okay, just another example of like how Republicans and MAGA believe everything they see on the internet, and then when they need to read something or look at it, they refuse to. They refuse to take the extra 5 seconds to like verify things or like make sure things are legit. Or like, for example, when you have your own GOP, like when, for example, I voted for the Democratic Party in 2024 for the first time in my life in terms of like on the federal level. I voted for Walz for governor. But when the Democrats post something, I like look at it and read it and verify it. Even today. Like I look at, okay, Democrat account, whatever, okay, is it legit? Blah blah blah. What are they saying? What is being said here? What message are they trying to say? Republicans don't do that. They just like, oh, okay, highlight, I look at that part. Okay, I look at the yellow. That's the part I read, and that's it. Just the yellow. Same thing with this one, with the Michigan terrorist. You had a bunch of MAGA that were posting a altered version of this. They were posting a version that took away the Trump 2020 part, and were trying to say that that was the actual one, and that everyone else was sharing a falsified image. If only you hadn't photoshopped it. But the actual people photoshopping it were the MAGA or the bots on the internet, probably Russians. Or Chinese bots, whatever. So the real image is the one with him with his Trump shirt on, and the fake one is the one that took it off. But we're doing this Uno reverse thing of lying. And they're all in my comments too. You can go and read all the MAGA in my comments that left comments. It's a Photoshop. And I even wrote here. The Michigan terrorist, the photo of him in a Trump shirt is real and still posted on Facebook. MAGA accounts are photoshopping the 2020 Make Liberals. It says cry again, but I thought it said afraid. Whatever. Afraid, cry, whatever. Part of his shirt out so they can turn around and claim the left faked this. It's a deliberate disinformation tactic. Erase the evidence and then accuse others of what they're doing. And then I even wrote, you may even see MAGA accounts posting the photoshopped version in the comments, like here on X, because they don't read, they don't do anything. I posted it, I left the statement, and they'll still be like, write their own truth. They'll still fist their own truth through because they're in a cult and they don't want to hear shit else, and they have tunnel vision. They being MAGA and most Republicans, honestly. It is what it is. Okay? We can go on here and read all the types of comments of the shirt is real, however. Or honestly, none of us have any clue which photos are untouched or which ones have been altered by Photoshop or other image modification app. There are apps that are blah 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 blah. Or instead of all this bullshit of like guessing and like trying to validate your copium, you can click the link that goes to the original image and shows that he's wearing it. You can go to the page, it's still up. Lots of people are finding it now. You can go to the actual link of the post that has him wearing it, and there's no edits. People go, well, you could go back and edit and Photoshop it. No. So, I mean, it's just it's the same thing. People don't read. People being MAGA and Republicans when it comes to politics. I'm not saying that the Democratic Party is all perfect either. People on the left are perfect either. I'm talking like right now in this moment. It's like every day. I mean, we just listened to Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth lie on stage yesterday to our top military brass to silence.
What happens in the next 3 hours and also the days ahead could depend in large part on my first source.
Like, why, like, when in this country, I mean, I understand free speech and all, and that's very important to have that. When are we going to come to reality? When are we going to come to, like, this is not, like, this is, like, not, okay, this should be illegal, actually. Especially coming from our politicians. I support free speech, but I don't think our government and those that are elected into office should be able to lie. And like and just lie and lie and lie. And it's made it okay for regular Americans to just do this. And I guess it's their free speech to lie. And that's just what it is. They're not trying to argue in good faith. They've weaponized free speech to be like, okay, free speech, bet we can lie, and then if you tell us we can't lie, then it's a free speech argument. but then when the shoe's on the other foot, and these people being Republicans and MAGA get upset that people are posting Charlie Kirk memes or aren't condemning it or whatever, then it's all about, oh, let's take away their job. Let's get them on. Let's call their boss. Get them up out of there because they hurt my feelings with a Charlie Kirk meme. But yet, on a daily basis, they, being the GOP and Republicans, Donald Trump, MAGA, lie as soon as they open their mouth and noise comes out. It's lies. There's no truth. Yesterday, the announcement of the lowering drug costs, I had like 3 MAGA because I think MAGA's fallen off. I really do. It's this app doesn't tell you the truth. This app is there's a lot of people that farm rage. They engagement farm, and so it looks different than reality. So when you go on here, you see MAGA accounts, and it looks bad because it's like MAGA account, 30,000 likes, 4 million views or something, and it's mostly bots. Realize that, but a lot of like MAGA have been falling off throughout the year slowly, and the killing of Charlie Kirk didn't fix it. Charlie Kirk being a martyr didn't change anything. All of their culture war efforts are failing, and I think there needs to be accountability on Republicans for lying as they breathe, and it is the Republicans. There are onesies and twosies Democrats that are dog shit, like this guy, like this clown. I'm John Fetterman. I got elected because I like to wear basketball shorts and a hoodie. Okay. So John Fetterman sucks with you. There's some Democrats that are so bad. Cuomo and Adams in New York, criminals. Okay. Whatever. Onesies and twosies. The party itself, though, and like the politicians themselves, have issues of not being progressive enough and aren't putting policies that like help Americans directly. And they take forever. And oftentimes the party will be kind of like a soft ass resistance to the GOP, and that's it. And like they'll give you like a bill here, a bill there, but when they have power, oftentimes the Democrats do fuck nothing, and then they cry that the Republicans are being mean to them, or like, oh, we can't work with these, we have to be bipartisan with these fucking Nazis, because that's what the Republicans are now. We have to be bipartisan with them, and we have to meet them halfway on everything. But when they have power, they don't care at all. When the Republicans have power, you see, they don't give a fuck about bipartisanship or about like unity. The Democrats need to stop doing that too. Democratic politicians and their policies help the Republican voters by default. And the Republicans can cry, cope, and seethe, but the Democratic policies help all Americans, not just the ultra rich. And it's not perfect. The Democratic politician policies always need to improve, but they're intended to help the regular Americans, or at least the working class. And again, it's not perfect, and it always needs reform, and you always need new bills and people that are progressive minded to make sure that even the Democrats aren't being lazy up in there and are just like sitting there. But however, Republican bills only help the ultra rich. They don't help Americans. The Trump is running the country off of executive orders, which do nothing. Executive orders do nothing for America. It's just noise until Trump's orders become law. It's just pieces of paper that he's doing to like hype his cult up. Trump RX. You got to subscribe to Trump RX to get a discount on your medications. So you have to enrich Trump personally and subscribe to a Trump product to potentially then get a discount, in which he says 80 some percent. Just like his tariff numbers or any of the other things he lies about on a daily basis when it comes to numbers. You think you're getting a discount, and you're probably going to get some off-brand ass super weak medication, like some shit's cut up. I don't know, like add some Sudafed in there or something. Shit's all cut. Got some like 1% Tylenol or something. I don't know. But you got to subscribe to his thing, just like he's trying to enrich himself. That's his goal as president, is to enrich himself and his family and his friends. He's not doing anything to support the American people. So you got John Fetterman, who is a fucking loser. And please, the people that elected him, find a new Democrat, for the love of God. This guy even just looks bad now. Honestly, he looks like a fucking slob. I don't give a shit. I know he's got a health condition. I don't honestly care. Or can I be serious when it comes to our politicians? I don't give a fuck. You're in there to work for the American people. You're not a show prize. You're not a show prize. So like, I get it. But you're in there now to work for Americans. You used your issues to help get you there. I get it. For sure. But now you're there and you're doing like pro-Israel shit. And you're like, he was one of the ones that voted to keep the government open with the Republicans. Like usual. So he's like a Manchin. So you got Manchin out, but you got Fetterman now, who replaced him. Isn't that fun? Basically. Sad day for our nation. Our government shuts down at midnight. I voted A to extend the ACA tax credits because I support them. But I won't vote for the chaos of the shutting down our government.
Hi, this evening I just voted for 2 CRs tonight. And the first...
Yeah, we don't stand with Israel or the Zionists. I mean, if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out. How about that? I don't stand with that at all. Period. Not at all. Zero. None. Any normal human being wouldn't either. So if you're like are an absolute fucking loser, then you stand with Israel.
Hi, this evening I just voted for 2 CRs tonight. And the first one votes to affirm that we would like to extend the ACA tax credits because, of course, I voted for health care. The second vote is about making sure that we keep our government open, and I did vote for that because I think it's a sad event if we shut our government down later today. So for me, our nation doesn't believe that kinds of chaos. Now, for me, it's about more over the country, not the party in this kinds of moments just like this. Hi, this evening.
What a loser. Like, I can't. Everything that, and it's wild how he's, all of the Republicans that shit on him for like dressing the way he does because of his health condition and looking like that, walking around in basketball shorts at the Congress, and then he turns around and like isn't just like, it's one, I don't know. It's one thing for like a Democrat to never say anything about Israel, Gaza, but like he came out in full support of Israel, like hardcore, no, not just like, yeah, hey, Israel has the right to exist and blah 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 blah, or I hope the best for both sides or whatever. No, he took Israel's side and it was like, yeah, hell yeah, I love the killing of civilians. That shit's based. Yeah, it's because Hamas. Yeah, Hamas exists or whatever, so we get to kill civilians in mass, and that's the position that Fetterman's taken. It hasn't been a soft, like, okay, like basically okaying Israel's actions, but no, he's like fully taken the Israel should keep going. Basically, Israel should continue. You got the Flotilla going there right now, still on its way there to Israel or Gaza. Yeah, shitload of people are watching it. 7,400 people tuned in. They got cameras on the boat. I guess you can just like watch them float there. They're bringing aid, so it's probably gonna get interesting when they get closer. And you got Israeli ships, and probably gonna try to prevent them from getting close. What's happening with Russia and France? I'm not sure. Our government shut down here. What is happening with France and Russia? French military boards Russia-linked oil tanker suspected of launching drones. Maybe Europe will start taking Russia seriously. Actually, you guys think Europe will start taking them serious now? Because they haven't. The best thing they did was the contact groups with the U.S. when Biden was president, and then when they had the coalition of the fucking willing. That even sounds soft. That sounds so soft. French President Emmanuel Macron said Wednesday that an oil tanker off the French coast had committed very serious wrongdoings and linked it to Russia's shadow fleet, which is avoiding Western sanctions over Moscow's war in Ukraine. The tanker was sailing last week off the coast of Denmark and was cited by European naval experts as possibly being involved in its drone flights over the country. Best Prosecutor's Office said a judicial investigation has been opened in the crew's refusal to cooperate. BB is a Democrat, lol. Jedi, that has to be your dumbest fucking take I've ever heard in my life. That has to be your dumbest take I've ever heard, ever. The Enforcer has I don't give a fuck about I don't care. You can go to their channel. Brest Prosecutor's Office said a judicial investigation has been opened into the crew's refusal to cooperate and failure to justify the nationality of the vessel. The ship's current status wasn't clear. It left the Russian oil terminal in Primorsk near St. Petersburg on September 20th, sailed off Denmark, and has stayed off the coast of the French western port of St. Nazaire since Sunday, according to the Marine Traffic Monitoring website. He was responding to Devin. Okay. He was responding to me. A Jedi's a wild card. Macron suggested it was stopped by French authorities' intervention, saying, I think it was a good thing that this work had been done and that we've been able to stop it. There were some very serious wrongdoings made by this crew, which is why there are legal proceedings in the case, Macron said on the sidelines of a summit European leaders in Copenhagen, Denmark. Okay. So Russia's like openly like launching drones all over Europe, and Europe better take it serious, or Russia's gonna keep doing it. You know, maybe close the sky over Ukraine, enforce that. Maybe do something, Europe. I don't know. There's only the largest war since World War II taking place just next to you. I know you guys. I know Europe. Not you guys. Not the European people. I'm talking about the governments. Okay, I'm well aware of how the European people are like desperately trying to be like, yo, please, the Russians are invading. We need help. Do something. So I'm not talking about like European people. I'm talking about the governments. Have like sat on their hands. And I get it. America has turned their back on Europe and Ukraine. I have all my criticisms that are still valid of Trump and MAGA and the government turning their back. It is the backyard of Europe, though. Okay, so it's like Trump pulled out, and I will be loud about that, and I will be loud about America turning its back on Europe. But Europe can't turn its back on Europe. Europe can't turn away from Europe. If that happened, what is America's interest then? If the European Western countries got to lead from the front right now, because Donald Trump and America won't. So now is a perfect time for like Macron, or I don't know, or Starmer, someone to take lead of the West, because we're America's out. We're out. Our government is shut down right now. We're out of it. Our leadership is dog shit. Our government is closed.
Oh, Ms. Rosen, no.
This is a live look into it, so they're gonna be. We'll see how long this lasts. How long do you guys think the shutdown is gonna last? It's Hamas committing the genocide. Hamas are the fascists. Hamas are the. Are you saying that in your room by yourself? I bet Devin's written that 1,000 times on his walls. You can go outside, you know, you can take the newspapers down. Yeah, it was 35 days. It was the longest in history. 35 days long was the last one. And Trump was president. Just ban him.
Mr. Sanders, no.
He said Russia controls the USA, now they will destroy it. If MAGA is allowed to, if MAGA's fascism is allowed to thrive, yeah, because that's Russia's funding it. Make sure you guys are in live chat instead of top chat. Make sure you guys are in live instead of top chat. I'm just going to be talking and going through news. Clips, updates, reacting. We'll have the Flotilla up and react to what's going on in the Senate. I'll read some comments. I also got Twitch up. We got Twitch up. Moderate Fetterman acts like a moderate then, but he's just another bootlicker. What is the point of a moderate Democrat, though? I don't understand that. It's like you already have non-MAGA Republicans that are nothing, that literally are just holding on to their power that they have left because they like are pretending to be moderate. But then when they're put in the hot seat, they have to kiss Trump's ass to keep their spot. So I don't understand anyone that would try to elect a moderate Democrat when you already have non-MAGA Republicans that are diminishing. But then why would you? We should just create another party. You'd have multiple parties, and then the moderates can have their own party, which would be comprised of liberals and conservatives. And then because the liberals are actually the like more centrist ones.
On this vote, the yeas are 52, the nays are 45. The nomination is agreed to. Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made, laid upon the table, and the president will be immediately notified of the Senate's actions. The clerk will report the motion to invoke cloture.
You said Europe is nowhere it wants to be in terms of weapons. It's going through the biggest arms stockpiling and manufacturing factory upgrades since World War II.
Rule 22 of the standing rules of the Senate to hereby move to bring to a close debate on executive calendar number 2, SRS 412, an executive resolution authorizing the en bloc consideration and executive session of certain nominations on the executive calendar signed by 17 senators.
You got the Congress going to every day try to get the government back
open. The mandatory quorum call under Rule 22 has been waived. The question is it the sense of the Senate that debate on SRes 412, an executive resolution authorizing the en bloc consideration and executive session of certain nominations on the executive calendar shall be brought to a close. The yeas and nays are mandatory under the rule. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsterbrooks, Ms. Baldwin, Mr. Banks, Mr. Barrasso. Okay, got you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Collins. Yep, got.
Young guy. McCormick. Thank you. Thank you.
Cotton, aye.
Thank you.
Trying to figure out. Jake Sherman usually tracks what's going on
Mr.
in there
Bennett.
for what they're
Ms.
voting on.
Blackburn. Mr. Blumenthal.
Large
Ms.
bipartisan
Rochester.
gaggle.
Mr. Booker.
So every day they'll be working to try to negotiate reopening the government to get the clean funding bill.
Mr. Bozeman. Mrs. Britt. Mr. Budd.
Aaron Recklin.
Cantwell. Corona.
Turn that down just a little bit. I read it to you guys. Outright lie, you can read the text for yourself. The Medicaid section starts at 55. There is nothing at all about free health care for undocumented immigrants. Vance is just making that up completely. So here's the vice president of the United States just lying. Okay, well, my bad, wrong one.
Talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are 2 Biden-era programs that explicitly gave the taxpayer health care money to illegal aliens that we turned off when President Trump took over in January.
Okay. Are you guys still want to play with Devin, or is it time for him to go? It's up to you guys, I guess. I mean, you're arguing that BB is anti-fascist is insane. That's such an insane statement. He wants to expand Israel's territory. He rules in mob rule. He is an authoritarian. He's been in power for how many years now? 22 years. What are you talking about?
Program number 1 is there's a lot of emergency health care at hospitals that are provided to illegal aliens. That was funded by the federal government. We turned off that funding because, of course, we want American citizens to benefit from those hospital services, not to be taxed and then to have those hospital services go to illegal aliens. The second of which is the Biden administration gave mass parole to millions upon millions of illegal aliens, and then they simultaneously made those parolees.
You know what, just quick, we'll listen to this again. Do you know what what was like the first gash in like support to Ukraine? Was October 7th. I was in Ukraine on that day. I was in Kyiv. And in Ukraine, I put all the Israel flags up just to stand in solidarity with the terrorist attack. A lot of people that supported Ukraine at the time then demanded that Israel is like the same, and like you got to like support Israel, and that destroyed a lot of support to Ukraine. It was people that put the Israel and Ukraine flag in their fucking bio. And then as the destruction of civilians like started piling up like over time, and normal people that are like that care about Ukraine, that are watching the Russians annihilate civilians and make mass graves, and then we've got to sit and watch the Israelis do it, and then you have dumb fucks that have Ukrainian flags and Israeli flags saying this is the same fight. That ruined the whole culture around people that supported Ukraine. Not completely, but that was the first gash in like why it's at where we're at now. And why like Ukraine isn't like getting as much attention, or like isn't getting as much fundraising as it was. Because a lot of people demanded that Israel is fighting the same fight as Ukraine is, and they're not. Israel's Russia. in the situation, and they always have been.
This is a Democrat talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are two Biden-era programs that explicitly gave the taxpayer health care money to illegal aliens that we turned off when President Trump took over in January. Program number one is there's a lot of emergency health care at hospitals that are provided to illegal aliens. That was funded by the federal government. We turned off that funding because, of course, we want American citizens to benefit from those hospital services, not to be taxed and then to have those hospital services go to illegal aliens. The second of which is the Biden administration gave mass parole to millions upon millions of illegal aliens, and then they simultaneously made those parolees eligible for health care benefits funded by taxpayers.
And that shit, like, he's lying. He's telling lies with his eyeliner, just lying through his teeth. Nothing he said there is true. So when does the accountability happen for liars? And then MAGA Republicans go, well, all politicians are bad. All politicians tell lies. Not in 4K on every day. Not like this MAGA Republican Party does. Not even close.
In the One Big Beautiful Bill, President Trump and congressional Republicans turned off that money to healthcare funding for illegal aliens. The Democrats want to turn it back on.
No. There is no health care for illegal aliens. They don't get that. Never.
And in their initial proposal, the first thing that they put out to reopen the government, they actually turned that money for health care benefits for illegal aliens back on. So it's not something that we made up. It's not a talking point. It is in the text of the bill.
And we read the text of the bill. It's for legal immigrants. Legal. You have to read it, though, because J.D. Vance, eyeliner Vance, is relying on the fact that his base and MAGA don't read shit. The fuck are they going to do that for? They'll set their fantasy football lineups. They're busy. They got Fox News to watch or something. They won't look at the bill. They'll watch Fox News tell them what's in the bill. That's the issue. They're not going to look at what the bill says.
That they initially gave to us to reopen the government. It's preposterous for them to run away from it now. But look, let's set that all to the side. Let's open up the government. Let's negotiate on all these healthcare policy issues. Obviously, we're not going to support healthcare benefits for illegal aliens, but we will work with them to lower healthcare costs for American citizens if they're willing to do so. This is
just bullshit. Literally just bullshit, dude. And like, this needs to be held accountable. And that's the issue in America. It ain't anything other than that. There's a shitload of issues. I shouldn't say that. There's a shitload of problems. But one of the biggest issues we have is the Republican Party, because we only have two parties, are just there's liars. Just liars. They don't tell the truth on anything. Their media doesn't tell the truth. Their politicians do not tell the truth. That's why their people and their voters are like that. Why are Republicans like that? Because their people and their politicians and their favorite podcasters and their whole world is built on lies. That's why. Their whole reality is built on lies, and it's not like their family values and that are fading, but like not like the individual life lessons that they're taught that they can pick up from their grandparents and like stuff like within the family nucleus. I'm talking about information. And things coming from that you need to research, or like things from people in power. Welcome to the Schumer shutdown.
Welcome to the Schumer shutdown. In 9 hours, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats are very likely going to shut the federal government down.
The Schumer shutdown. Is that what we're calling it? My last photo with Charlie, I always looked up to him. Yeah, because he was taller. They're gonna farm Charlie Kirk in the Arena Zarutska for another year, I think. No, they'll farm Charlie Kirk for a long time. When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, Jimmy Kimmel did not cry. When Charlie Children lost their father, Jimmy Kimmel did not cry. He didn't cry. Liberals cry all day long, apparently, but when Charlie died, no cries. Governor Newsom press off. This is what the stream's going to be today, guys. While they're debating it, I'm not going to sit and just watch. This is boring. So we're just going to read stuff and read your guys' comments. The Zodiac Killer is still around. Yeah, he is. He's still in there. Democrats, let's make healthcare more affordable. Let's keep the ongoing funding. MAGA, no. Trump, go fuck yourself. Actual quote. And I'm going to keep building my ballroom. Fox confirmed that there will not be a stoppage of ballroom work when the shutdown occurs. Fox is told work will continue to be performed as the fund. Wow, so the ballroom's still going. You guys worried about the ballroom's funding elapsing during this? It's still happening. The rules were you guys weren't going to fact check. Well, they already spent like 3 years back in Trump's first term alienating fact checks. And saying fact checks are cringe or fact checks are fake news. MAGA is still provoking Portland. Was there I think there was a press briefing this morning. No, it just finished. Oh, were we here JD Vance? This is Schumer shutdown. Oh, thank God it's not as long. Thank God it's not that long. They say a little prayer in a circle before she walks out. God bless Israel supplying more like supplying Patriot batteries for the first time ever. That's why it pissed me off when Ukraine was like standing with Israel. Israel did fucking nothing for Ukraine when Russia invaded. That's why I was confused why we had to support Israel, because Israel did fucking nothing for Ukraine. At all. Zero. Like, what the fuck are you gonna help Israel for? They don't give a fuck about anyone else but themselves.
Good afternoon, everyone. Packed house here today, and I have a very special guest with us, the Vice President of the United States.
Oh boy, gotta control the message.
He'll deliver some remarks and take some questions.
He looks like a dork too, doesn't he?
First, I just want to share remarks of my own. Democrats in Congress have officially shut down the United States government. House Republicans passed a nonpartisan, clean piece of legislation to extend current government funding until November 21st. But nearly every single Democrat senator voted against this bill. To be clear, this was the exact same bill that Democrats approved 6 short months ago in March, just adjusted for inflation. This is the same kind of clean funding bill that Democrats passed 13 separate times when they held the majority during Joe Biden's administration. So the American people woke up this morning and asked the obvious question: why is the government shut down right now? The answer is pure partisan politics being played by the Democrat Party. The
Democrat Party. It's not even what it's called. That's their thing. That is their thing, the Democrat Party now. Because it sounds like, when you say it, because this is how Republican brain works, is like just dicks and farts. I don't know how else to explain it. Dicks, farts, body part stuff, and basic concepts. So like Democrat sounds mean, doesn't it, or whatever? It like sounds like a rat. The way that it sounds, the way that when you say Democrat, it makes it sound mean. So that's why they say that, because they're all of that's their fucking brain and how their brain works. Instead of saying Democratic Party, which is what it's called, what we would call it, the Republic Party. We call it the Repub Party, because that's what they're doing when they do Democrat Party. But they say that because it sounds like rat, or it sounds bad. So that's why they do that, because that's what they work with. They're fucking stupid brain, simpleton brain people. How do we teach MAGA how to read and understand information? You can't go back in time. It's terminal. It needs to start at the lowest level when they're being taught in school, but MAGA is also supportive of defunding the Department of Education. So it's kind of like cooked. So you can't undo it. You can try to you can bring a tired horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. Okay. You can drag it. You can drag one. You can drag a tired horse to water, but you can't force it to take a drink. and that's MAGA.
Democrats shut down the government because President Trump and the Republicans will not force American taxpayers to pay for free health care for illegal aliens. America is $37 trillion in debt. We cannot afford to provide taxpayer-funded free health care to illegals who broke the law to enter our country. To put this all into perspective, the Democrats refused to keep the government open over health care to illegal aliens and now have jeopardized critical health care programs for American citizens.
Yeah, Robert, MAGA, cuck suck on Facebook, #1 in my comments. We went over the CR 40 minutes ago. You were late. You should have been here. You weren't.
The Women, Infants, and Children program, community health center funding, Medicare treatment options, and other health programs are now all at risk because of the Democrats rejecting the clean CR. The most vulnerable in our country are being punished because the Democrats want to prioritize illegals over American citizens.
Which, again, is just fake news, false, lies. Already went over it. There you go. Here you go, Robert. Here you go again. I'll even post it from the GOP's account. But they lied, as usual. When you read it, it's in here. There's nothing about illegal immigrants receiving health care or health care funds. They can't. They can't, flat out, point blank, period, cannot receive Affordable Care Act funds, which is wild. Such a double-edged sword because, one, Republicans don't give a fuck about the Affordable Care Act. They don't want that. They say it's socialism, even though they benefit from it. So they fought the Affordable Care Act the whole time. When Obama was trying to get it put into play and get it signed into law, which now it exists and it's good, actually. It's something actually good, needs to still be improved, needs reform. But it was a good start, a good starting point. And that's what I think, you know what, I'm just going to be a lot of people that are further left than me, like a lot further left, need to understand how slow American government is. And if you can get a Democrat in there that is even remotely progressive, that's a win. And I'm telling you that because it's so slow. You're not going to get super hardcore progressive policies through quickly, as we've learned, unless it's at the state level. Minnesota was able to, but Minnesota's just more progressive overall. The country itself is not. Our whole, as you're hopefully you're learning. So it's important to, like, when you're trying to get politicians in there. I understand that, like, Democratic Party bad, I get it, but like you gotta get people in power in there that at least will have a good starting point with policies, and at least something remotely progressive to where then you reform it and you build upon it. But if you just like, oh, they're not doing everything I wanted, I'm not voting for any of them. Then that's gonna lead us to Trump. But I get it though. You don't want to have Fetterman Democrats either. You don't want to elect basically a Republican to hold a Democrat seat just because they have the D next to their name, and they're like the resistance to the Republicans. Like, yeah, I get that for sure. But purity testing Democrats all day long is not healthy. And two, you have to compromise in your brain when you're going to vote. That, and a lot of people do. There's a lot of people that would rather not vote for the Democratic Party, and they do that because that's just the only choice you got at the end of the day. Really, you can vote for other people for sure, but they ain't got a chance in hell in winning. So they already do in their head. They have to compromise and vote for a Democrat because there's no progressive really or someone else to vote for. But a lot of times Democrats do get or advocate for progressive policies, and then it's not progressive enough at the time. And yes, for sure, but like at least get something in there to start. And the Affordable Care Act was a good start. It's not the final product of what like universal health care should be, though, is it? It's not universal health care, but it's something to get. It's something to start with, and that's how America works. We're slow. We are old. We're slow. We're fucking racist still. Got white nationalism coming back. Like, okay, so it takes a long time to get the wheels of our government moving in a direction that's beneficial to Americans. So that's just the way I think about it, right? And that's just me coming from the other party and coming across the aisle and what I'm seeing in the Democratic Party and people that vote left on the left side, the ghost of the left over here that exists. But anyways, that's just for policies and things, but Republicans don't even care about policies. So that's what we can't even have. You can't even have good faith discussions about policy or anything like that with a Republican, because they're like, oh yeah, well, trans people. Oh yeah, well, oh, Cracker Barrel. Yeah, that's what I care about. They took away my Cracker Barrel sign. Oh yeah, well, they got Bad Bunny playing at the Super Bowl, and I don't even know who that is. That he speaks Spanish. That's not He doesn't speak American. And that's the fucking debates and conversations that you have with a fucking Republican. Okay? And nothing there. So it sucks, because you can't actually have good faith conversations about things that actually help Americans, because that's what you got to fucking work with out here. Anyways, so there you go, Robert. There's no ability, even in the piece that the GOP shared from the bill, that undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens, illegal immigrants, whatever word you want to use, do not receive the Affordable Care Act. But don't worry, you shouldn't even care about the Affordable Care Act anyways, right? So you should support the Republicans fighting back against it, and not play and stop playing fucking games. You don't want the Affordable Care Act. You don't want Americans to receive the Affordable Care Act, because that's socialism, apparently. That's communism, right? That's your taxpayer dollars going to help Americans. But you want to cope and lie now because you don't want to look bad saying, I don't want to help my fellow American. I'm going to just lie and say it's undocumented immigrants, and that'll validate my bigotry. That'll validate my hate, even though you're just like pushing it off onto another person. It just says more about Republicans than anything, or people that are still voting for this administration or support it. Because one, you're lying about it, and then two, it's like, even in the lie, it's like there's a lot of bigotry there that needs to be addressed.
And if Democrats actually cared about health care, they would applaud the actions taken by President Trump just yesterday in the Oval Office. He took a bold and massively popular action to improve our healthcare system.
So the Republicans and Democrats are fighting again, but they are all a part of the same system. Hilarious. Ignorant take. I can't do that either. I'm not trying to change anything. Once you know they are selected, not elected, you'll be less bothered by this stuff. Do you tell yourself that because you think you're cool? Does that give you like a centrist, unbiased, like, feel better about myself now? Does it do it for you? Is it cool to be uninformed? I've noticed that there's like a thing like with the current times of like being nonchalant and like not caring about things, and apparently that's cool. You know what's hip now? You know what's hip is not caring. Not giving a fuck, I guess, is like the cool thing now. Hey, you know, let's have a competition about how much we don't care about things. That's like a lot of friend groups are like, and that's why I don't fuck with friend groups really anymore, because it's like everyone's trying to not give a fuck each other. Wow, so cool. You don't have any opinions about anything. Wow, great. Unseasoned ass person. Congratulations.
He announced the first agreement with a major pharmaceutical company, Pfizer, to lower drug costs for Americans. This is a historical achievement long sought by past Democrat presidents that only President Trump was able to get done. Also yesterday, while the Democrats were whining about health care for illegal aliens, President Trump signed a powerful executive order to supercharge American AI innovation and unlock cures for pediatric cancer patients in the United States. While President Trump took action to lower drug prices and improve the lives and the care of American children with cancer, again, Democrats are fighting to give health care benefits to illegal aliens. The Trump administration is fully committed to lowering healthcare costs and advancing policies that will save American lives. But right now, we need to keep the government open and funded. And individuals and organizations across the political spectrum, across the country, agree with the Trump administration and Republicans. The labor union leader, the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, sent a very blunt message.
The MAGA cuck, no one cares.
To Democrats over their destructive antics. He said American workers are not bargaining chips,
The guy that sold out sold out for MAGA, even though Republicans have been trying to destroy unions forever and still do, and are anti-union actually. But yet they got that guy to somehow come cucking for the Republicans.
Senators need to stop screwing around and pass the House-passed clean short-term funding bill. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the world's largest business organization, called to immediately pass the Republican Clean CR, saying, quote, shutdowns are harmful to the economy, the American people, and our national security.
Yeah, you gotta go. Israel doesn't support Ukraine. Go fuck yourself.
And even Democrat Senators Cortez Masto and Fetterman acknowledged that their party is betraying the American people with this costly and chaotic Democrat shutdown. Enough is enough. Democrats need to stop sabotaging our country and holding the American people hostage in the country. Democrats need to do their jobs. The American people want the government reopened, and this is proven in a New York Times poll showing that 2 in 3 Americans say the government should not be shut down by the Democrats, even if their absurd demands are not met. The president and Republicans are working very hard to reopen the federal government. The vice president here has been crucial in this effort. We encourage all Americans across the country, call your Democrat senators and encourage them to reopen the government. That's what President Trump and the vice president want to do. And with that, I will turn it over to our great vice president, J.D. Vance.
Great. Well, thank you, Carolina, and good afternoon to everybody, and good afternoon to everybody who's watching at home. It's a tough act to follow, but let me just say a few things, and then I'll take a few questions. Number one, Democrats say that they care a lot about lowering health care costs, and yet, when the president took historic action to work with the drug companies to lower prescription drug prices, the Democrats...
See how fake this is? When he worked with Pfizer, which didn't MAGA like just have a fucking brain aneurysm over Pfizer and the fucking COVID shot? Didn't they just... What is going on? So Trump works with Pfizer, who apparently MAGA hates because of the clot shot or whatever that they just made up and lied about the COVID. And then you have to subscribe to his Trump RX. It's not like you just go to you can use your own Medicare and then your own doctor, your own prescriptions. You got to subscribe to Trump's shit. You got to subscribe to Trump RX, which isn't established yet. They got to build it still. It's just a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of bullshit.
Democrats did nothing to help us. In fact, we would have loved to have the Democrats helping us, but they didn't. They talk about doing something.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake 627. Thank you.
Hard work of making it happen. What they have done instead is to shut down the government because we won't give billions of dollars to healthcare funding for illegal aliens. That is what has actually happened. To the American people who are watching, the reason your government is shut down at this very minute is because, despite the fact that the overwhelming majority of congressional Republicans and even a few moderate Democrats supported opening the government, the Chuck Schumer AOC wing of the Democratic Party shut down the government because they said to us, we will open the government, but only if you give billions of dollars of funding for health care for illegal aliens.
And the news needs to call this out. I'm doing it, but I'm not corporate media. I'm just a YouTuber with 700 viewers. I don't have power. We need the corporate media to stop being cucks and call this out. And we had one press journalist call Trump out yesterday in the Oval and said, Mr. Trump, this is not what do you mean when you say this? There is the illegal immigrants can't receive health care. And then he rambled for 20 minutes and then told him to fuck off and left. We need the corporate media, the mainstream media, to call this out. And they need to do it. And if they don't, and they never do, then it's over. You can have all the independent media do it all you want, but we don't have money. We don't have power. We don't have funding. Okay? We need the corporate media to call this out. And it's over with if you start seeing it never happened. That's the tell, because we have the freedom to do it, but what are we gonna do? What is someone like me gonna do about it by calling them out and saying this is lies? Other than just trying to get the word out to more people, share the stream, tell someone about Mercado Media, I guess. But I don't have the millions and millions or billions of dollars that CNN has or NBC or Fox, but Fox isn't news, but they pretend or whatever. We don't get millions of dollars to do this. They need to start calling this out and doing segments. And you know who actually is? You know who actually has been that I've been tuned into lately that's actually kind of going hard for like mainstream news? Because at this point, I don't watch the mainstream media other than to find the couple people left that are still holding it down. It's Lawrence or whatever. Who's the fucking this guy? Lawrence O'Donnell goes so hard. Bro, like I was not aware of his game. Like I've seen him before and I've seen like his stuff, but like he's going extra hard in his videos lately. And like I was like, at first I was like, is he just like doing a roast? Like the way he's going crazy. We'll watch this after it to show you guys like an example of somebody in the corporate media that needs to start doing more of this, and they have to. We have corporate media. It sucks. It sucks ass. I'm glad that other people can see how bad it is, because that's why someone like me can even exist, right? Or other YouTubers or other content creators. Because of how bad the mainstream media is, because they aren't holding truth to power. They aren't holding power accountable. And oftentimes they end up just like cucking to it. So GG's, I'm glad that they suck so I can exist. However, we still need them to do their job and to hold power accountable for lying, like JD Vance is doing right now. You still need to. You need to demand it, especially if it's publicly funded media. You just saw how quickly like someone like Jimmy Kimmel can get censored, right? Okay, well then inverse that and start demanding that if you're on public airwaves and if you got like ABC or the publicly funded traded media, then you need to demand that they start holding these politicians accountable because they're getting your taxpayer money.
That's a ridiculous proposition. Let me say two other quick things, and then again, I'll take some questions. Number one, we all understand that Democrats and Republicans have policy disagreements. The Democrats want to
and we have to, otherwise everything will be private. Then we'll have all Fox News type media and only Fox News type media, which is fine in terms of like the freedom of having like a private and a private media or whatever and doing your own thing. And I support that. But like we see the ethics that Fox News has for media, right? So it's not good. It's like that they have the freedom to have that and the freedom to lie and the freedom of speech, all that. And then the freedom to pay a shitload of money after lying in defamation case. But like they have the freedom to do that. We need the entities that at least try to tell the truth, or at least say they at least have some people on their staff that do to do that. And they have to advocate for it. Otherwise it's cooked.
Do things. Look, when Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries were in here a couple of days ago, they made some suggestions that the president was more than happy to say, yes, let's sit down and talk about how we can solve the healthcare crisis that we inherited from the Biden administration. But it's one thing to say that we should solve the healthcare crisis for Americans.
Thank you, Bobby, for the 100 stars.
That we're going to shut down the government unless we give the Democrats every single thing that they want, which, as Caroline says, includes giving billions of dollars of taxpayer funding for healthcare for illegal migrants. That's ridiculous. You don't have policy disagreements that serve as the basis for a government shutdown. Let's have the conversation about how to fix American healthcare, about how to make healthcare more accessible. As the president showed, he's more than willing to act on behalf of the American people for this.
He's willing to act on behalf of people that will enrich him. That's it. He's willing to act on behalf of the cult that will buy his products. And that's it. You know, fucking American people.
For this very reason, what you don't do is say, unless you do exactly what we want to do as congressional Democrats, we're taking hostage. And the hostage, it turns out, is critical, essential services that the American people need. Caroline talked about some of it. Let me talk about some more. Our troops are not getting paid starting today because of the Chuck Schumer wing of the Democratic Party. We have people.
The Chuck Schumer wing.
People who require food assistance, low-income Americans who require food assistance.
Oh, you care about low-income Americans on SNAP? When Republicans try to defund SNAP and they call it communism and socialism all day long, and food stamps, really? This is all just bullshit. All just bullshit.
Will not get it unless we reopen the government, thanks to Chuck Schumer and his wing of the Democratic Party. We have flood insurance as we start hurricane season.
Well, apparently it's the entire Democratic Party now. They're trying to, so they can't make, do you know why they're calling it the Chuck Schumer thing? Because they can't make the Democrats seem united on something. That's why. That's why they're trying to make it seem minimized. They're trying to minimize it and point it to one person, not because obviously to just bully Chuck Schumer, and that's all they do. And Chuck Schumer is, I mean, I don't care. You can bully him. He's shit. But I mean, he finally did something. He finally listened to his base. He didn't listen to him in March. And he got shit. He got, oh my God. And it's all worth it. It's deserved. But he finally did the right thing and tried to actually resist this. And it is the whole Democratic Party. And they're scared about midterms. Their approval rating is bad. And the Democratic Party approval rating is bad too. It's really bad. However, when we only have two parties to choose from, a lot of Americans that aren't involved in politics or participate in polls at all are going to like select the Democratic Party just because like it's the opposite to Trump. And that's it. Nothing else. They probably won't even look at a policy. You know how many Americans didn't vote in 2024? They just sat home and just were like, fuck it. Bad choice. But it's their freedom to do that. Their freedom to not vote. That's cool. I'm glad that we live in a country that you can vote. You don't have to vote. You can vote for who you want. You can write in Mickey Mouse if you want. I love that. I love all that. Okay. But it has a price. Okay. We live in Donald Trump world now. But yeah, midterms are looking cooked for him, at least right now. All that. So their policies, the militarization of the police, sending the military into cities is not popular. Not popular policies at all. They're not even policies. It's just authoritarianism.
In the southeastern part of our country, that flood insurance is going to disappear because of Chuck Schumer and the far left of the Democratic Party. We need to reopen the government. Let's fix America's problems. Let's work together to solve them. But let's reopen the government before we have our negotiation about health care policy. That's what the American people demand, and that's certainly what the President of the United States wants. Let me make one final point. I think a lot of Americans are asking themselves, why did this happen? Why did the Democrats shut down the government despite, as Caroline said, voting on the exact same piece of legislation 6 months ago? And there are a lot of different spins that we can put on it, a lot of different answers that we could give, all of them true. One answer I already gave is that they want to give health care benefits to illegal aliens. That is true. They gave us...
It is not true. It's a lie.
...legislative text that would have undone us cutting off health care benefits for illegal aliens.
I mean, all that, just the whole premise is a lie. The whole foundation of what you're saying is a lie. That whole thing is a lie. There's not even a truth in that.
One of the things that they asked for. But the reality here, and let's be honest about the politics, is that Chuck Schumer is terrified she's going to get a primary challenge from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The reason why the American people's government is shut down is because Chuck Schumer is listening to the far left radicals in his own party, because he's terrified of a primary challenge. So I'd invite Chuck Schumer to join the moderate Democrats and 52 Senate Republicans.
So join the, like, how many who voted I might have to ask ChatGPT this because I don't know if Google's AI. Okay, let's just ask. It'll be way faster. This will be so much faster. Magic Conch. The Magic Conch. Wow. Yeah, side with the 3. It was literally 3. John Fetterman, no surprise. Catherine Cortez Masto. And then Angus King, who's an independent. Wow. Yeah, side with the moderates in your party, which is 2 people. Not the overwhelming majority of the Democratic Party, including 100% of the House. The whole House. Not one House member voted with the Republicans. But you have Israel Fetterman here. And then I don't even know who this lady is. Don't even know. And then Angus Main, who's an independent. Okay. Thanks, Magic Conch.
Do the right thing, open up the people's government, and then let's...
Thank you, Crowned Eagle. Appreciate that.
People. Questions?
Mr. Vice President.
That's a lot. Matt Boyle.
Okay.
Mr. Vice President, there's two key Democrat lies I would like.
What just happened?
Is a proposal that
regarding extraordinary, actually its entire history until Joe Biden came along. On some of our Senate Republicans.
They cut out
Democrat
reason.
They posted an edit of the stream. Damn it! Now I'm lost. He's answering questions. Is he a press secretary now?
That we demand we're going to shut down the people's government. They're trying to take a hostage, and we're not going to let them.
And the administration announced today that $18 billion bound for New York transportation projects is going to be frozen so it can't go to DEI programs there. But the timing of this, does announcing that today mean that you guys are going to squeeze Chuck Schumer's home state until he blinks?
Look, I haven't talked to Russ about this morning, but look, I'm sure that Russ is heartbroken about the fact that he's unable to give certain things to certain constituencies. We want to do everything that we can to help the American people, but when the Democrats shut down the government, we have to actually do a little triage to make sure the most critical and most essential services are provided. The government does a lot of things, of course.
What does it say about the Republican Party to when they can have a supermajority? Supermajority. They control everything, and then still cuck out and cry about Democrats. The Democrats did it. You have full control of the whole government. Everything. They don't control anything. I can't wait till midterms, dude. And then the investigations begin, and then they just cry every day because they can't get anything done. Because you bet your ass if the Democrats win the midterms in the House, it will be investigation after investigation after investigation, and I will support all of it. And it will derail anything MAGA wants to do. And that's why it is imperative the Democrats win the midterms in the House. Likely not going to win in the Senate. That's just tough. Traditionally doesn't happen. Doesn't say I'm not going to count it out. I'm putting more of my energy points into the House. Of because it's a slim majority. It's easy to flip. And traditionally, regardless, you can manifest a Senate flip, but it doesn't happen. You can pray for it, but it usually is just the House, okay? And then you can have an impeachment that goes nowhere again. He'll get impeached in the House, but I mean they'll go to the Senate, and then you'll see Ted Cruz and MAGA Republicans kill it again. But I mean it'll be drowned in investigations, and MAGA can't get shit done anymore, which is good.
Republicans think that the federal government probably does too much, but there are a lot of critical things the federal government does that absolutely all of us would agree need to do. Our troops need to get paid. Our air traffic controllers need to make sure that people are flying safely and on time. We need low-income people to be able to access the food services that are provided by the federal government. There are critical things that need to be saved. We're going to do everything that we can over the coming weeks, if the shutdown lasts that long, to ensure that people get the essential services that they need, despite the fact that Chuck Schumer has shut down the federal government. It's not going to be perfect because we are in a government shutdown. We are going to have to lay some people off if the shutdown continues. We don't like that. We don't necessarily want to do it, but we're going to do what we...
Bullshit. You are fine with laying off workers for nonsense, for DEI or whatever else.
We have to keep the American people's essential services continuing to run.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, and thank you for being here. Yesterday, President Trump said, as a result of the shutdown, we'll be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very effective, and the Democrats, they are going to be Democrats. Has the administration asked agencies to target federal workers who they believe to be Democrats in these reductions of forces?
We're not targeting federal agencies based on politics. We're targeting the people's government so that as much as possible of the essential services can continue to function. That is the question the president has asked the entire government, is fundamentally, okay, we're in a shutdown. That causes some problems. The troops aren't getting paid. There's nothing that we can do about that while the government is shut down. But there are essential services that we want to make sure as much as possible they still continue to function. That is the principle that's driving us forward during the shutdown. It's going to continue to be the principle that drives us forward. But let's be honest, if this thing drags on for another few days or God forbid another few weeks, we are going to have to lay people off. We're going to have to save money in some places so the essential services don't get turned off in other places. That is the reality of the government shutdown that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have foisted upon the administration.
So what did
Phil.
he mean by they're going to be Democrats? He said they're going to be Democrats.
You've laid out a lot of the pain and problems that would come with a Democratic shutdown, and yet in the Oval Office yesterday, the president said that a lot of good could come from a shutdown. So square that circle. Which is it, a Democratic-caused crisis or a Republican opportunity for reform?
Well, I think all the president is saying, Phil, is that he wants to make sure the American people's government functions as well as it can, despite the fact that we're in a shutdown. We're going to have to make things work. And that
You said MAGA has become AIPAC? They've always... The Republican Party is AIPAC forever. Before MAGA. Like that's why it threw me sideways last year, watching pro-Palestine, anti-war people like consider MAGA, consider Trump, actually Arab League or whatever, not the whatever it was. I couldn't believe it because the Republican Party, the Heritage Foundation are like literally actually like Israel, and like it's always been like that. The U.S. government in general is for sure. But like it's more so with the Republican Party, and it's always been like that, even before MAGA came around.
That means that we're going to have to triage some certain things. That means certain people are going to have to get laid off. And we're going to try to make sure that the American people suffer as little as possible from this shutdown. That's what the president is saying.
Thank you, DJ Eddie, for subscribing.
Obviously, the president is trying
Twitch
to reopen the government, but we're going to make things work as well as we possibly can, given the constraints that we have.
And then on those policy differences for the discussion and the negotiations to come later, during the Biden administration, Democrats twice voted to expand these Affordable Care Act tax credits. But those were supposed to be temporary, and they were slated to expire at the end of the year. As you sort of crack the door open to negotiation at a later date, would the party that ran on defunding Obamacare really negotiate about potentially expanding Obamacare?
Well, Phil, what we've said to the Democrats is that we're willing to have a conversation.
Actually, a good question.
About how to ensure that Americans continue to have access to health care. And frankly, they should have access to better health care at a lower cost. We inherited a mess of a health care system from the Biden administration. It's why the president has worked so hard on the most favored nation status for prescription drugs. It's why we care.
Which is such a bullshit, because you have to subscribe to his thing to get any of that. You have to pay Trump personally. Pay Trump personally, get on his Trump RX to get a discount. That is like likely horseshit anyways. What is even happening? You're working for the Biden healthcare was bad. This is just bullshit, dude. Thanks, Merc. Shit's fucked. It is. I can't, like, these people make me fucking angry.
Care so much about lowering the cost of prescriptions and why we're doing everything else. We're willing to have that conversation, but I think it's important to bracket the healthcare policy conversation because it's separate from the government shutdown. We think that we can open the government and then have the conversation about what best healthcare policy to fit the needs of the American people. That's all we're trying to do. That's all we're trying to accomplish. We've got to reopen the government first. Now, Caroline, I don't know how you do this, how you actually choose people, because I don't know 90% of the names in here. Is it just who's the best dressed? Okay, I really like your shirt. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. You are President of the Senate. Can you talk about what you're doing, what the administration is doing to try to get other Senate Democrats to vote to open the government?
Yeah, we're talking to a number of our colleagues, Democratic and Republican, in the Senate. I talked to a number of them last night. The president, of course, is talking to them as well. I think there really are two categories of demands that I've seen privately from congressional Democrats. I think on the one hand, those who are negotiating in good faith are saying, look, we just want to make sure that we're able to have a conversation with the administration about some of the critical needs that we see that need to get fixed over the next few months. We recognize it's kind of absurd, and a lot of them will admit in private that it's kind of absurd to shut down the people's government over these disagreements, but just agree to negotiate with us in good faith on these issues. And of course, we're having that
more like the Republicans won't negotiate in good faith.
Conversation with them. Then there's another category.
The Democrats are actually finally doing something.
Who say, give us everything we want or we're going to keep the government shut down. We just write those people off because they're not negotiating in good faith. And frankly, we don't need them. We've already got 3 more Democrats last night than I thought we would get. And I think
it's 3, not 3 more. It's the number is 3. Period. That's it. They're just sitting in there. Meanwhile, the government shutdown live look. Doesn't look like it's going well.
I think it's because they recognize the illogic of the position of taking the entire American economy hostage because they don't get their policy priorities. So 3 moderate Democrats joined 52 Republicans last night. We need 5 more in order to reopen the government, and that's really where we're going to focus, is how to get those 5 additional Democrats.
Thanks, Mr. Vice President. First 2 questions.
It's almost as quiet in there as it was during Trump's speech yesterday at the military gathering. You know, you guys can clap, you can applaud, you can do whatever. You know, we're all cool here, right? You're all fascist like me, right? Right? Crickets. That should have given you guys confidence in our military a little bit. I know we got a lot of people that are worried that the military will follow. I mean, there will be some commanders that do. That's just the reality of it. But like, they weren't all like applauding and thunderous applause and like to Trump, what anything Trump has said yesterday, because we ain't with that. We swore an oath to the Constitution, not to a president or not to a leader in the country. It's to the Constitution, which goes back to the beginning.
Are there plans to meet Democratic leaders again in the coming days, or are you planning on plucking off senators one by one?
So that's the whole question?
No, I got a second question.
Okay, go ahead and ask the second question.
So the president's been posting some images of Leader Jeffries and Senator Schumer.
I saw.
Recently, you've said that you're interested in good faith negotiations with these leaders, but you know, what message does that send? Is it helpful to post pictures of Leader Jeffries in a sombrero if you're trying to have good faith talks with him?
Oh, I think it's funny.
Oh, I think it's good. Yeah, it's just Trump doing Trump stuff. He's being hyperbolic. He posted another one.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault. It's a disgusting.
So he's like 2 in a row. I don't know if you deleted the other one. AI generated. It looks like a Mr. Beast thumbnail. What a great couple. Turn around and pretend like you don't know I'm on my knee. Act shocked. What was that kiss, though? What was that? Ew. Oh, what she really cares about. There you go. Oh, she has more. Even though she's acting the whole thing, there's more emotion into the ring than the kiss. Wow, so shocked. Wow, I can't believe it. The staged video we did. Well,
the senator from Virginia.
Mr. President, I rise to talk about the reality of the shutdown that we are in and the efforts underway to find a path out.
Oh, really?
Which I'm optimistic we can.
It looks like it.
Discussions among so many colleagues of both parties today on the floor of the Senate. This is the third time during my nearly 13 years in the Senate that I have been involved in a shutdown. The first occurred in the fall of 2013.
Sounds like a personal problem. Sounds like you're the problem. Mr. President, I have been a part of 3 shutdowns that have there's only been 3 in modern history. I mean, unless you count Bill Clinton 1995 as modern history now. I don't know if you do. Do you? You used to be able to. I don't know if you do that now. I've been a part of all of the shutdowns. They can't stop.
The president's joking, and we're having a good time. You can
He's
negotiate
joking.
in good faith while also poking a little bit of fun.
Yeah, poking a little bit of fun, for sure. That's what that was.
At some of the absurdities of the Democrats' positions, and even, you know, poking some fun at the absurdity of the Democrats themselves. I mean, I'll tell Hakeem Jeffries right now, I make this solemn promise to you that if you help
What up, Dr. Doom Gaming? How you doing?
Memes will stop. And I've talked to the President of the United States about that. Now, to your first question, are we negotiating one-on-one? Are we negotiating in groups? Look, I will go to the U.S. Capitol right now and meet with Chuck Schumer or any Senate Democrat if it helps us reopen the government. Most of the conversations...
Then why aren't you in there right now? Why aren't you in there?
In the first nearly 9 months of this calendar year.
Why aren't you sitting in there?
Experience at least have been one-off. We're also, of course, relying on some of our Senate Republican colleagues who have good relationships across the aisle. We're going to do whatever we have to do is the answer, and I think it's tough to predict what shape this negotiation is going to take over the next few months, but I feel good about the fact that Democrats already realize privately the fundamental irrationality of their position. I hope that they're going to publicly acknowledge it and reopen the government. Right in the back, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. You responded to a post on X of Chuck Schumer on the House floor back in 1996, railing against illegal immigrants receiving taxpayer-funded benefits. You said Chuck Schumer once recognized that it was disastrous to give illegal aliens rewards for breaking the law. Now he wants to shut down the government unless we reward illegal aliens for breaking the law. Why has Chuck Schumer changed his stance?
You know, that's a good question.
Lying reporter, got MAGA media asking a liar a question, and then he's going to give you a lying answer.
Question. Actually, it's a very tough question.
It's a tough one because it's a nonsensical question that you lie about, and then you got reporters asking you about it because it's by design.
Getting the head of Chuck Schumer is not a place I particularly want to be, but my basic read on it is that the entire Democratic Party, the political leadership, not every Democrat nationwide, but the political leadership of their party has got it into their heads that the only way to be compassionate is to be compassionate to illegal aliens rather than American citizens. If you go back to what Bill Clinton was saying, even Barack Obama in some cases, what he was saying about illegal immigration 10, 15, 20 years ago, you would put them on the MAGA right based purely on their rhetoric around illegal immigration.
Gaslighting, bullshit. There's no illegal immigration. There's nothing in the bill for illegal immigrants. There's no ACA for illegal immigrants. It doesn't work.
So I don't know why they've gone so far to the left. I think it's bad for the country. I think it's bad for them politically. But
that's why we're fucked, because you have MAGA that lie. Like I tell you guys, they just lie. Words coming out, noise, it's lies. There's no truth to be had. So we're going up against administration and a political movement that operate on lies and then negotiate in bad faith. And when they want to come debate, they're not coming to debate to change their mind. They're coming to try to trigger you or get you clipped for the internet, for their little grift that they have going of like my little patriot corner that they have, their little groups. That's what they're trying to do. Well, they'll just look at the protests when they went to Portland. And they're out there just trying to antagonize the protesters so that way they can clip them doing shit. They're not out there to report on the situation of like the protests and ICE and what happens. They're out there to put themselves into the story, make themselves the story. That's what MAGA's doing.
Principle. All I can do is speak for the president that I serve and the country, the administration that I serve right now.
No, it actually is true. State money usually goes to fund immigrant health, and state will use that. He is talking about illegal Cosmic Carp. Cosmic Carp. I will pull you into a Discord call right fucking now if we need to, because this is the problem. He is talking about illegal immigration. He is saying undocumented immigrants illegal immigrants are receiving Affordable Care Act funds, and that is a lie. It is fine for immigrants that are here legally, which apparently MAGA says is fine. MAGA says legal immigration is fine. Legal immigrants are okay as long as they come here the right way, right? Right? Legal immigrants that come here and are legal get the ACA because guess what? They're legal or whatever. Undocumented migrants, undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens, illegal whatever the fuck you want to call them, do not get the ACA. Period. Point blank. Period. JD Vance is not arguing about legal immigrants getting the ACA. He is lying and saying that it's undocumented illegals getting it.
Now, we believe that the American people's government exists for the American people. That means the people who have the legal right to be here, and that's why we're fighting to reopen the government. And unfortunately, the Democrats are fighting to shut it down for the benefit of illegal aliens. And I'll take a couple more, and then I'll let Caroline. I'll go back to my day job so Caroline can go back to hers. All right. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Just going back to the sombrero, you said that the president's joking, but Hakeem Jeffries says that these memes were racist. What's your response to that? And just if I may briefly go off topic, Secretary Hegseth yesterday made an edict about no more beardos in the military. Just wondered what.
Sorry, what did he say?
No more beardos. Beards. Oh, sorry, it's my accent. Just wondered your response to that.
I didn't see that particular comment. I thought Pete gave a hell of a speech, and a speech that really is just oriented around returning the American military to the very high standards that it has had for virtually its entire history until Joe Biden came along and decided to lower.
Until Joe Biden.
Standards. I think it was bad for our military and it was bad for our troops. When I was a young United States Marine, I did not have a beard. I am now the vice president, so I get to do what I want to do. But I think Pete's trying to re-implement high standards, and that's a very good thing. On the sombrero thing, I mean, Hakeem Jeffries said it was racist, and I know that he said that, and I honestly don't even know what that means. Like, is he a Mexican American that is offended by having a sombrero meme? I mean, I saw.
Why didn't Trump put the sombrero on Chuck Schumer? Why did Trump pick Hakeem Jeffries to put the sombrero in music? And even yesterday when he was talking about Obama and how Obama would go down the stairs. Trump is racist as fuck. Like, that should not even be debated at this point. Like, if you're still debating that, that's like 2015 shit. I didn't even save the shit. It's because Hakeem Jeffries, while black, is brown skinned, and by putting a sombrero on him and putting music on it is a racist connotation. Otherwise, why didn't you put the sombrero on Chuck Schumer? Why didn't you do that?
I saw one of the major TV stations put the meme up and then say this is AI generated, and he had like the curly animated mustache too. It's like, do you really not realize the American people recognize that he did not actually come to the White House wearing a sombrero and a black curly animation mustache? Like, give the country a little bit of credit.
Way to flip that one. Way to gaslight and flip that one and make it about American exceptionalism, I guess. Yeah, well, do you think the American people thought that was real? And that's not what the argument is. The argument is Trump posted an AI-generated meme of Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero with mariachi music. Not, oh, you thought that was real? JD Vance is showing you what debating a MAGA is like. That's why you don't do it. Credit to anyone that still does it. Honestly, because it's useless. It's so pointless.
We're all trying to do a very important job for the American people. The President of the United States likes to have a little bit of fun when he's doing it, and I think that's okay. I'll take one more question.
It has a little bit of fun.
Mr. Vice President, in every previous shutdown, workers have been furloughed, not laid off. So why does the president want to fire some workers and not just furlough them? Why is this shutdown
any different?
Well, first of all, we haven't made any final decisions about what we're going to do with certain workers. What we're saying is that we might have to take extraordinary steps, especially the longer this goes on. We're going to have to take extraordinary measures to ensure the people's government operates, again, not perfectly, because it's not going to operate perfectly in the midst of a shutdown, but operate as well as it possibly can. And I think that the Democrats, if they're so worried about the effect this is having on the American people, and they should be, what they should do is reopen the government, not complain about how we respond to the fact that Chuck Schumer and the Democrats have shut down the government in the first place.
I can't believe he made the argument that Hakeem Jeffries isn't Mexican, so it can't be racist. That's crazy. Old-timey Republican shit.
And the president
Thank you,
also said
Caroline.
he's going to target some benefits, Mr. Vice President.
It'd be like when you're around all white MAGA and they start saying the N-word and shit, which they do. And they start saying the N-word and like being racist, which they do. If there's no one there to call them out or do anything, it's fucking boy. Okay? And then the one person that does, and then they go, well, you're not even black, so why are you offended? Not like recognizing the racist words or whatever they're saying. It's that the one person that was like, hey, that's wrong. Oh, what are you? You're not even a black person to be upset about this. Like, that's where their brain is at on it. Like, not that the racism was bad. It's just that you're not someone that could call me out on it because you're not the victim of my racism, I guess, or the target of my racism.
Thank you. See you guys.
All right, guys. Well, let's let the fun continue. Vice President's a very busy man, and I'm happy to take some more questions. I know there's more news today, aside from the...
Yeah, we don't need to listen to Nazi Barbie anymore. All done with Nazi Barbie. He's still talking in there. So here was Lawrence O'Donnell on yesterday's Nazi rally, which wasn't, I'm not talking like the military, in terms of Hegseth, Timu, Patron, what's it, Pabston, General Pabston. Someone in chat said yesterday, tried to do a Timu Patton speech, and then Trump nearly died on the microphone in front of all of us for an hour and 12 minutes. That was, I mean, it was bad, but it was expected. So here's Lawrence O'Donnell last night on Trump and Hegseth's attempt yesterday.
The United States of America.
Who's Pabston? It's Pete Hegseth, General Pabston, like Pabst Blue Ribbon. Never heard of? Never, General Pabst Blue Ribbon, Pabston. Pabst is, it's not bad, actually. If someone's offering one. Want a Pabst? Sure. They're not bad.
America is facing an emergency tonight. And no, it is not the emergency of the clock ticking to midnight without legislated funding for the American government. We've seen that clock tick to midnight before on nights like this. The emergency the United States of America is facing tonight is an emergency the United States of America has created for the world. And that emergency is that the President of the United States, in his public appearance today, proved that he is mentally incapable and emotionally incapable of fulfilling his constitutional duties as President of the United States. In other words, there is no President of the United States as we knew it. There is no functioning intelligence, no functioning judgment mechanism within the mind of the current holder of the title, President of the United States. And that person is also the holder of the nuclear codes that could destroy the planet in seconds. And he is, much to the horror of the commanding officers of the American military who listened to him today, the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military in the history of the world. Much of the news media made the mistake of believing that all of the American commanding generals and admirals were being summoned to Quantico, Virginia, to listen to the small man of small experience who is currently the Secretary of Defense. That was obviously a fraudulent reason for demanding that all the generals and admirals fly from all over the world, leaving their command posts, to listen to a speech. It was obviously always just a setup for Donald Trump to harangue that audience with what turned out to be stream of consciousness madness, complete with hallucinations and an endless stream of pathological lies. A group of officers who earned their jobs in ways that Donald Trump never could, had to sit there and listen to a clown who stood before them in what appears to be a homemade brew of orange makeup slathered all over his face because he thinks it makes him look better.
Lawrence has had enough. He's had enough. I was listening. I almost choked on my food. I was listening. I saw like, oh, MSNBC video. Okay, let's listen to it. And then he's like, Lawrence O'Donnell starts calling him a fucking clown and shit. I'm just like, choke. I couldn't believe it. I had to pick up my phone and start watching.
And I guess maybe we should accept Donald Trump's judgment about that one thing, that the madman orange makeup he slathers on himself makes him look better. Maybe it does. We don't know. Maybe the actual sight of the actual color of his 79-year-old skin is much worse than the orange clown confection that he chooses, but we don't know. Or maybe...
Stop. He's already roasted him.
Maybe the orange junk on his face is yet another proof that the man has no capacity to make a judgment about anything, including the way he looks. Never mind nuclear weapons. What was he thinking backstage when his Secretary of Defense, who had to promise to stop drinking to get confirmed by the Senate, insulted all of the commanding officers in the room with this kind of idiocy?
It's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands.
I love how the only audio feed then was that with that noise in the background. And I think that's perfect because their speech was drowned out by that fucking audio tone the whole time. And it's so bad.
Generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are.
Okay, Pete, how about fat presidents? How about a president who has been fat every day of his political career? Is that a bad look? All of those generals can button their uniform jackets. All of those admirals can, every one of them. So there's the Secretary of Defense, who may or may not be managing his reported drinking problem, telling all of those commanding officers that they better never look as bad as Donald Trump, who can't even button his suit coat jacket. There was some suspense in the room today when Donald Trump was giving his speech. There was no suspense about would he cross the line that you never cross with the military as president and get political. Everyone knew he was going to do that. Everyone knew that he doesn't know there's a line. Everyone knew he was going to foolishly waste the admirals and generals' time telling them about how many swing states he wanted. And of course he did. The suspense in the room was whether the very, very tired, almost sleepy 79-year-old man at the microphone was going to make it through that 1 hour and 11-minute speech. And there were times in the middle of a sentence that it just seemed like he just might drop right there, might not even finish that sentence. And what he seemed to be showing to the generals and the world is that he might not have the physical strength to make it through the 3 years, 3 months, and 20 days left of his presidency.
And I thought that too. Like yesterday when we saw that, I posted that yesterday. Like, yo, it doesn't look like he's going to make it like another year. Based upon his, like, we just saw him like had a like stroking out on the 9/11 memorial, sitting there. Like, brother, like go into the old folks home. You're a billionaire. Like, what the fuck? But they got to hold on to the power. Got to hold on to the power and like look at then all of the shit they gave Biden. Biden was old for sure, definitely old, stuttered, fell off his bike once. But I would rather have that, but I'd rather have a younger president, like in general. You know what I mean? 40s, 50s, something. But until we're there again, I guess. But Biden never did anything Trump is doing here. Did just start rambling and ranting. Every time Biden talked, well, yes, he was old and would stutter. He had a point with what he said. And like there was an ending point in Biden's speeches. Like they're the beginning, middle, and end. Trump's just goes and goes and goes until like he physically can't anymore. And everyone's tuned out and no one wants to listen anymore. And people are begging for it to end. And he's also stroking out. He's overweight. I don't fat shame. I'm not into that. But when it comes to people at higher power, I will though. I don't punch down. I no point in doing that. But people that are president and power, billionaires, oh yeah, especially if they're the ones being bigoted to others about what they look like. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it to them. Okay, it's just punching upward. That's just how I am. Is what it is. So Donald Trump, you know, is he's unhealthy. He's nothing. He's not nothing to mirror. It'd be like, yeah, man, you should. At least Biden was out there riding a bicycle. At least Biden was out there doing healthy activities. As old as he is, he'd be out there doing all types of shit. Trump, his thing he does is golf, and he cheats. And he cheats at golf. That's all he does for physical activity. The hell out of here.
Left of his presidency. Is that what has given J.D. Vance such a spring in his step lately? Is that why the vice president looks so happy these days? Donald Trump has never looked physically weaker or wearier than he did today. Weaker in every sense of that word, physically, mentally. Because Donald Trump is uneducable. He still doesn't understand why he walked into a room of military commanders today and faced silence.
Silence.
Thank you very much, Pete. Great job you're doing, too. Fantastic job. I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Oh, don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can...
I just thought about this last night, too. You got MAGA and J.D. Vance saying he's restoring standards. He's bringing standards back. In the military, you don't clap and applaud when a higher commander comes in the room, which Trump is the commander-in-chief. So Trump is the commander of the military. So you have to give Trump, or whoever the president is, the same respect you would for your company commanders, like a captain or whatever, general or a colonel, whatever they are. Trump is the highest. It's how it works. So when the commander enters the room, you stand at attention. When officers enter a room, you stand at attention and you don't say shit and you're frozen solid until they say at ease. And when an NCO comes into a room, more so in like basic training and shit, when it's like, you don't do that when the higher NCOs come in the room, like when the first sergeant or sergeant major come in the room, like higher NCOs or an E7 that's holding a first sergeant slot. When they come in the room, you go to parade rest. And you put your hands behind your back and you stand there for them and you stand there at parade rest. That's just what you do. And you don't say shit. You don't go, oh, the commander here. Ah, yeah. You yell at ease or attention. And you got to stand there at attention or someone will do it. One person does it. The one closest to the door when the commander enters the room. The person closest to the door, the first one that sees the officer walk in the room has to yell attention. And everyone simultaneously stands up at attention, like you see the generals and the command sergeant majors doing here in this photo. And you do that, and you don't say shit. And it's dead quiet until, like I said, the commander says, at ease. Or sit down, usually. At ease, take seats. And then everybody sits down, and then you're still sitting there, and there's actually a position of attention where you're sitting. Can't remember if it's attention or at ease, whatever, but you're sitting there, and it's like, you sit there with each hand on your fucking legs, and you got to keep your legs at a like you would when you're standing, and you sit there like this. And that's what you do in the military. You don't, ain't no fucking sitting like this. Ain't no doing whatever you want. Ain't none of that. There's a standard, and you follow that. So when you have J.D. Vance and Trump talking about we're increasing the standards, and then you have Trump walking in expecting an applause. and thunderous approval while saying you can do whatever the hell you want. You know, you can chill. That's not the military. That's not what that is. So they don't even understand. They don't even have a fundamental understanding of it. But yet they want applause and shit. It's cringe.
You leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future. But you just feel nice and loose, okay? Because we're all on the same team. And I was told that, sir, you won't hear a murmur in the room. I said, we got to loosen these guys up a little bit. So you just have a good time.
He didn't loosen them up. They didn't have a good time. They didn't applaud. Politely applauded,
they hated it.
Only at the end. Donald Trump lied to the commanders repeatedly, and they knew it. He told them Ukraine is the worst war since World War II. Everyone sitting in that room knows that the war Donald Trump avoided by getting a doctor's excuse, the Vietnam War, which in Vietnam is correctly called the American War, killed over 4 million people. It was in what was then South Vietnam, North Vietnam, and as the United States spread the war into Cambodia and Laos, the war across those borders was much worse than what you're seeing in Ukraine. And he insulted the commanders with his lies about war. He told them that Portland, Oregon, quote, looks like a war zone.
He said it.
Who has no idea.
He said it looks like World War II in Portland. Everyone in Chatmark is raising funds for new safety gear so you can go and get us the long form, unedited street view of what is and will be going on. Please buy him a coffee. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. Appreciate that, Satora. And then Lorraine with another 20 said support Mercado Moody because he does a great job outside. Appreciate that. Let's go. Support, support, and support. Thank you, Lorraine. I'll tell you guys about that in a little bit.
Quote, looks like a war zone. Spoken by someone who has no idea what a war zone looks like. Everyone in his audience knows what a war zone looks like. Everyone in his audience today knew that Donald Trump was lying. Donald Trump was telling the kind of lie that should concern his doctors and his family when he said Portland looks like a war zone. He hallucinated dialogue that has never happened. And his 79-year-old brain cells couldn't find words that were right there, just out of reach, like this.
79-year-old
Iran nuclear power, the Iran, all of the great power that we thought existed, we blew it out to kingdom. We took advantage of it.
We blew it out to kingdom. Of course, what he wanted to say was, we blew it out to kingdom come. That is the phrase he grew up with. That is the phrase he has known most of his life. But that word combination is lost to his failing brain now. And there is also the possibility that his failing brain thinks that he actually did say kingdom come when he only said kingdom. Because that's the way brain failure works. And an obviously unhealthy 79-year-old man struggling and failing to make sense about anything. Generals flew across oceans, admirals crossed the world to come and listen to the most ridiculous person who has ever stood before them to discuss walking downstairs.
We were not respected with Biden. They looked at him falling downstairs every day. Every day the guy's falling downstairs.
I fuck with Lawrence now.
Our president. We can't have it. I'm very careful, you know, when I walk downstairs, or like I'm on stairs, like these stairs, I walk very slowly. Nobody has to set a record. Just try not to fall, because it doesn't work out well. A few of our presidents have fallen, and it became a part of their legacy. We don't want that. You walk nice and easy. You don't have to set any record. Be cool. Be cool when you walk down, but don't bop down the stairs. So one thing with Obama, I had zero respect for him as a president, but he would bop down those stairs. I've never said, da-da-da-da-da-da, bop, bop, bop. He'd go down the stairs, wouldn't hold on. I said, it's great. I don't want to do it. I guess I could do it. But eventually, bad things are going to happen. And it only takes once.
Imagine crossing 10 time zones to hear that. This is an emergency for the United States of America and the world. And those generals and admirals know that. They know that their commander-in-chief is lost. They saw him today. They listened to him today. And it was unlike anything they have ever listened to before in their lives. It is much worse than the first version of Donald Trump they saw in his first term as president. What they saw was something much worse than a president falling downstairs, and they all know it. They were forced to listen to the most ignorant man in the room tell them that he is the first person in the world to figure out how to stop wars.
The Department of War, I love the name. I think it's so great. I think it stops wars. The Department of War is going to stop wars.
Is it?
He believes it. Imagine standing, talking to graduates of West Point, graduates of Annapolis, graduates of the Air Force Academy, and telling them that the name Department of War, which is still not the legal name of the Defense Department, will stop wars. No one in that room has ever heard a stupider statement in their lives. They know the president is not well. He looked and sounded physically drained today. He also sounded deranged and was hallucinating. And the military commanders in that room today all have to be wondering tonight just how much more dangerous their jobs are now, that they've just seen how lost and sick their commander-in-chief is. Donald Trump complained to his military audience today that people make up things that he says.
And it's hard. You know, they make up a statement and they said, you say it. We had 25 people that said he never said that.
Donald Trump actually complained to that military audience today that people make up things that he says. And he said that the day after he completely made up words to put in Chuck Schumer's mouth through AI that he then posted on social media around this time last night. Completely changing through AI the words that Chuck Schumer said after meeting with Donald Trump in the White House. And in that AI video, Donald Trump made Chuck Schumer almost as profane as Donald Trump is publicly, which of course you know is not Chuck Schumer. Donald Trump used manipulated video. He falsely dressed the Democratic leader of the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries, in a Mexican sombrero. No Democrat has ever done that to Donald Trump. It is inconceivable that a president of the United States would put out a fake video of the Senate Minority Leader and the House Minority Leader. That would not happen, could not happen.
We tell truths about them and they tell lies about us. That's how it works.
Because Donald Trump has lost his mind and Republicans in Congress accept that Donald Trump has lost his mind, the Republican Party cheers on his public madness. And because not one Republican found fault with the ugly and insane video that Donald Trump posted last night, he has decided to create and post another one tonight. And this one includes me. It's a clip of this program last night of Hakeem Jeffries responding to the racist video that Donald Trump created about him last night. And this one tonight is another demonstration of the depths of Donald Trump's depravity, his perversity, a deep and unyielding perversity beyond anything we have ever seen in American politics. The President of the United States is now a weary, snarling viper of political perversity, and every commander in the American military has now seen that and knows that.
I don't even know how to put words together like that. How do you even do that? Called him a viper and shit. Cooked him, made fun of him and cooked him. So I fuck with Lawrence. Lawrence is in the queue of videos for me now, personally. When I watch what's going on out here. So he's a good one. We also had one from, let me see, let's check in with the shutdown. See how it's going. Still shut down. Still shut down. Got the Flotilla still on their way to Israel. We'll see if the Israeli military tries to intercept. 13,000 people are watching this. It's a lot of people on AP. It's been intercepted. Is that why shitloads of people are watching right now?
Yeah, so basically...
Oh, this must have just happened, huh?
Confirmed with interception. Alana likely...
There's cameras on their flotilla. This is live right now. This is their live feed. Who's running the feed for him? Yes, we told you. I mean, I didn't see anything. A bad chat was moving quick. Yep, AP's had it live all night. Yes, since yesterday. They're getting closer and closer to Gaza. Are they still like getting close? You tagged me? Oh, in Discord or what? There's a flotilla of aid to Gaza. Activists are on a ship. They're on a boat. You can't go into Gaza. Israel's got a blockade over it. And so this flotilla is going right up to the shores of Gaza to bring aid. Is what's her name is on this, isn't she, or no? Isn't the climate activist on this ship, on this boat? What's her name? Greta. Yep. Wonder what type of internet you probably need. Like, what type of connection do you need to keep a feed going on the ocean like that? Probably like satellite, huh? Merc is Merc-tarded. Listen, man, I've tapped out of geopolitics. We have our problems in the U.S. It is what it is. I follow it when I can at this point, but my energies are completely put into the U.S. at this point. Spent the last 3 years watching the rest of the world, and I'm glad I got the education, and I know who's doing what out here now that I can turn to when I need to know what's going on, but my efforts are 100% into my own country now. Okay, so Flotilla is still going on the AP feed. Getting closer. What time, what is there like an estimated time of like when they're gonna get there? Getting through boring news. They have like a ETA or like when they were gonna be there? Glad I could see some of the lights from the shoreline. 10 a.m. local. Activists say Israeli Navy may have begun intercepting a Gaza-bound aid flotilla. Activists on board a flotilla of vessels sailing toward Gaza said late Wednesday that
Mr. President.
The senator from Tennessee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are we in a quorum call?
We are not.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So you're gonna have Republicans going up and talking and crying about the government. Where do we go now? My bad. Where is my article? Activists on board a flotilla vessel sailing towards Gaza said late Wednesday that the Israeli Navy has begun intercepting their vessels as they approach the besieged Palestinian territory. The global Sumud flotilla, with Greta Thunberg, Nelson Mandela's grandson Mandela, and several European lawmakers aboard, consists of nearly 50 boats and 500 activists, and is carrying a symbolic amount of humanitarian aid. It has remained undeterred in its mission to break the Israeli blockade in the coastal strip and reach Palestinians. Greg Stoker, an American veteran aboard one of the boats in the flotilla, said around a dozen naval vessels with their transponders off had approached it. They are currently hailing our vessels, telling us to turn off our engines and await further instructions, or our boats will be seized and we will face the consequences, he said in the shaky video posted on Instagram while wearing a red life jacket. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said on X that the Navy had reached out to the flotilla to ask them to change course and warn them that they are approaching an active combat zone. It reiterated its offer to transfer the aid to Gaza through other channels, which at this point it's just the humanitarian, the GHF, which is controlled by Trump and Israel. Italy's Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani confirmed the Israeli intervention and said the operation was expected to take 2 to 3 hours. So is that... Are they still sailing forward? Do they talk on this at all or no? I wonder who's like behind the controls of this. Or you're either intercepted and want to hunger, and some want to hunger strike. So they're sitting there intercepted right now then? Okay. My bad. Yeah, I didn't see the postings in Discord. They have their own website. That's where everyone is getting the feed from. Oh, okay. Who is there? Like, their government supporting this? It left Spain a month ago. It's going to reach the shores of Gaza by Thursday morning. The UN Convention of the Law of Sea stipulates that a state only has jurisdiction up to 12 nautical miles from its shores. In general, states don't have the right to seize ships in international waters, so armed conflict is an exception. Global Sumud Flotilla Tracker is the website name. Not found? Oh wow, you can like... Do they have security? Like... Intercepted. What does intercepted mean? Adara and... Serious? What does that mean? They stopped too? A hijack by Israel? Some of these boats are going with them or what? I don't understand how they're able to just pull, like, there's a shitload of boats here, so they just grabbed one or two of the group? Oh, they were legal support boats? "44 vessels." Attack on Alma? That's loud, sorry. There's no way to control the volume on Instagram? Damn, they've been like shit. That was on September 10th. So 2 other vessels were hit with drones on the 8th and the 9th of September. You said they firebombed them. That is worse than the flashbangs. Yeah, it looks like incendiary drones. All right, well that's the flotilla heading towards Gaza. 44 vessels. Israel and other governments urge them to turn back. Israel's foreign minister Gideon Sa'ar called the flotilla provocation and warned them to stop and transfer their aid through other channels into Gaza. It is not too late. So probably by tomorrow or late tonight, when they get closer and closer, it's probably going to come to a head eventually. All right. Well, that's the Flotilla. We'll keep updated with it and see where it's at, especially tomorrow as they get closer and closer. Governor Newsom posted Republicans refuse to keep healthcare subsidies for millions of Americans and then shut down the government. The GOP chose chaos over coverage. The shutdown is entirely upon them. Yeah, they're bringing food and aid. Pfizer's art of the deal. ICE lied about the person it shot, claiming it was a criminal, but NBC finds that he had no criminal history whatsoever.
In suburban Chicago, a blood-stained car marking a deadly flashpoint in America's immigration raids. The Department of Homeland Security saying ICE officers in Franklin Park tried stopping a vehicle driven by 38-year-old Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, but say he refused to follow commands and drove his car at law enforcement officers, dragging one a significant distance. ICE saying that officer, who sustained severe injuries, feared for his life, shooting Villegas Gonzalez, who later died at the hospital. DHS describes the individual as a criminal illegal alien with a history of reckless driving, though a review of Villegas Gonzalez's publicly available records by NBC News found no criminal charges. Records show he pleaded guilty to 4 traffic violations, including speeding.
So this example of ICE grabbing American citizens and shooting them or beating them, and then they go, oops, we thought you were illegal.
The most recent in 2013.
Wow. 2 shots.
Yes.
In suburban Chicago, a blood-stained car.
That's ICE for you. That's why so many people are against them. Very disappointing jobs number for the private sector. Uh-oh.
And let's just review what we got, because as Rick said, very disappointing. It was a weak number. So this is private sector jobs. Total comes in negative 32,000. And that was a surprise because economists were looking for an increase of 51,000. It's the biggest monthly drop since March 2023. Also, the revision was not good. August was revised down sharply. The month now showing, as you can see, or actually can't see, but August goes down to negative 3,000 compared to the initial read of 54,000. There's the August revision.
So all of their guessing numbers, it's going to be the same thing with the economy and with the treasury when they're predicting good numbers. Ain't no good fucking numbers from these tariffs and these policies by this administration. So they were guessing that we were going to add 54,000 jobs and then 11,000. Meanwhile, actually, it's negative by a lot.
So 2 weak months in a row. If you look, private sector payrolls have now dropped in 3 of the last 4 months, according to ADP. And if you look beneath the surface, you can see where the job losses were. Small and medium-sized businesses saw bigger declines than large businesses, which actually saw job growth. But guys, if you take the report and you compare it, some people say, oh, it's not really correlated with the government jobs report. Well, the reason I think that people are paying attention to it today is, first of all, we're not going to likely get that government jobs report on Friday, but also look at the correlation. I mean, the direction is in the right mode. Like they dip at the same time, they rise at the same time. I think it gives you a good sense, at the very least, of the trend on job growth. This is ADP private sector versus
Killing jobs. Washington Senator Maria Cantwell just called out MAGA for refusing to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies, leading to healthcare premiums increasing by over $3,000 per year. This is why the Democrats were not about to pass or accept this funding bill, because of what it was going to do to people that are on the Affordable Care Act.
You look at households and incomes, you know, somebody might say, oh, well, somebody might be able to afford $840,000. Well, not if you're a family of four on $40,000. You're not going to afford that if you're on $75,000 of income, and now you're going to pay $3,368,000 more, or even $90,000 of income. I got news for people. Seattle is one of the most expensive places in the country to live, and coming up with now all of a sudden $3,000 more for health insurance that you didn't think you were going to have to pay, people are going to make the wrong decisions. You look at how
Nothing good. Nothing good transpiring out of this government. Gavin Newsom declares himself leader of the free world. Good news, Patriots. With Washington shut down, I, Gavin C. Newsom, am now the leader of the free world. My platform is very simple. Health care for all Americans, no measles. Free school meals, wow, pudding for everyone. Free childcare, the moms love me, more babies. Good paying jobs, and no more evil tariffs. Yet eggs will be free. Hair gel subsidies will be available, but only for handsome Democrats. And we will also legalize cannabis. Crime will stay low, and everyone will be high on patriotism. And no more Ticketmaster fees for the Swifties. Fees stay for Kid Rock. They chant USA, USA, because we will be back and hotter than ever before. Thank you. Gavin Newsom's in charge now. He's running it. If Representative Jeffries helps us open the government right now, the sombrero memes will stop. Democrats have shut down the government. Department of Justice websites are not currently regularly updated. Wow. The DOJ website has been updated to say Democrats shut down the government. There it is. Democrats have shut down the government. Department of Justice websites are not currently regularly updated. Democrats. And it's always like that, y'all. There is no bipartisanship with the Republicans. It's always the Democratic Party that has to capitulate. It's always like this. Finger pointing and blaming the Democratic Party, but then, like, there's a reality in which Democrats are also weak, and then they get criticism from their own people. And that's why the Democratic Party's approval rating is so low. Is because you have all of the Republican Party against the Democrats, and then you have people that are in good faith that are criticizing the Democrats because that's their politicians for either being too weak or policies too pro-Israel or not enough to Ukraine or whatever, or too weak. So it's like that creates the aura of like the Democrats bad, which they can be, yes. But then when you get full control of the government and then you can run the government websites, you can put shit like this, that Democrats shut the government down. Crazy work. Crazy. Parker's still debating Trump supporters. It's like giving yourself cancer voluntarily. Just something you don't want to do, y'all. Just something you just in general do not want to do. All right. What do we got here? I'm excited for Asmongold to start streaming again so my favorite streamer, Tectone, could know what opinion to have when he comes back the next day. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. All right, what do we got here? I got another one for you. I got another one for you. Where'd it go? Where is it? There you go. So you guys know that I mentioned earlier, Bad Bunny is going to be giving the halftime show at the Super Bowl, and MAGA is very, very upset about it because Bad Bunny does not sing in English and brown skin person. So therefore they're mad.
So they named Bad Bunny the Super Bowl halftime show, and in the most predictable outrage ever, I'm pissed off. I mean, I'm mad. I'm a Category 5 Alex Jones. You know, year after year, NFL, you just keep messing up with these shows, and you should know better. You know I'm fragile. You should know that if the wind blows the wrong way, I'll boycott the breeze. It's in my nature. I was going to boycott this season anyway. I've been boycotting every year for the last 10 years, and I'm not quiet about it. I made it known. And then what do you stop doing? You stop catering to somebody like me, a guy who wasn't going to watch anyway. This is ridiculous. Nothing's for me anymore. I'm a straight white English-speaking American man, and if 15 minutes out of the year isn't directly for me, I'm pissed off. I'm not happy unless I'm mad. And did you know Bad Bunny's not even from the United States? I bet not. That means something, being from the United States. Just ask The Weeknd, Rihanna, and Coldplay. You know, at least when you brought in a foreigner, Shakira had the decency to have a big fat ass for everybody to look at. You done messed up now, NFL. Here's a little preview of my review of this year's Super Bowl 4 months in advance. That halftime show, that was demonic. It was gay. It was anti-ICE. It was unpatriotic. It was too sexual. It made me think. I couldn't understand a word he was saying, and he didn't speak no English. I'm done with you, NFL.
It made me
Fuck
think.
The NFL and go Colts. Epstein Files.
Oh boy. So funny. So goddamn funny. Oh boy. Also, chat, in the background of all this, we had, so when the news of Portland came in, overall, I'm going to adjust myself to be ready for QRF reporting. And what does that mean? That means, like, I'm going to have a backpack packed and be ready to go when we need to. Okay, and not like have to sit and wait and see. Like, we're just going to go from now on. I already got one piece of equipment. I also got my armor ordered. But for now, I also have new equipment coming, but I got a new backpack. Okay, I'm gonna be able to put my plates in it, but I got my press backpack, and I can keep plates because I'm not gonna just be wearing the plates like unless like something happens. Then I can just put them in like we're playing Warzone, and literally just like slide them in. Because on my vest, which I already have, I could just open the front and then literally just like Call of Duty, put the fucking plates in, and so I'll literally do that if some shooting happens or something out there, and I'll slide the plates in. But I already posted on my Discord and Facebook about it, but I'll show you guys here too, and don't feel obligated to help or support. I'm just glad you're here and on the stream, but you know, it is what it is. So that's what we're looking at. Okay, I told you guys I was going to put it together for you, let you know what's needed, And I have these things already. Like, I already have a helmet, I have a mask, but they're civilian grade Amazon. Like, I mean, this works. Like, I'll have this as like a backup, you know what I mean? If my other mask breaks, like if the good mask breaks, this works as like a good backup, but I mean, this pales in comparison to like that one. Okay? But also with the helmet, I want the fast helmet. Okay, it's a lighter helmet. I can put a GoPro on my top. I can put a GoPro there on the Rhino mount, so I can just be filming. Because that's the other aspect, is it's hard to stream and film, and take video of what's happening out there. But that's usually what more people will watch, is like the edited content. And so I want to have a GoPro or my my other one. I have another product. I can't remember the name of it, but I'm gonna have that on my helmet. Okay, and then I can have press on there. But it's just a better helmet. Expensive, yeah, it is expensive. That's why I need your guys' help and support. Right, $2 a person. You know, at times the 600 some here, that would get it done, right? So I don't need one person to send that money. It's like, hey, if you can, and I understand times are hard, but you know, if I'm out there providing journalism for you guys, this is what I need. And I hope that the news that's coming in and the shootings and people just getting dropped out here, you know, help understand this is why I need to upgrade my armor and my protection, because the shootings aren't stopping. The political violence is not stopping, and I need to be protected. And I've already been out there when shootings have taken place, and I didn't have any of this. I had some and then it's after the shootings in Wisconsin, then I had people say, Mercado, you need to get real armor. And I do have real shit. This is all real. This safe life vest. I just need to get the plates. I'm getting the real plates that are going into it. So that's why I don't need to get a whole new vest again. So I have this already, and it has like flak protection, and it's really good. It's a really good vest. But those plates, like I said, are going to slide in. So you just open this up. Hold on. So you open it up, and then I have 2 plates already, but they're too small. Okay, I have 762 protection, but they're medium. I'm a large or an XL, but they're just too small. You slide them in, literally like you're playing Call of Duty, and you got to put your fucking plates on, and you're playing Warzone, and then you slide it in, and then you got actual like armor protection. Okay, and that's what the plates are for. And I got front and back plates. And you got to put the plate in, but it's just too small, and it doesn't cover my whole body because the plate's medium size. And also, like, I don't know how someone got a hold of this, but this is the plates you get in the military, like the Army. These are the plates that we got issued. It was in my ILTV. Okay, but either way, though, this is a display item now. But I wore this in Ukraine. That's what I wore for protection to go to the front lines. But even then, it was like uncomfortable. But I don't need to get a vest because I already have one. So that's already set. But I need a new helmet. I need that gas mask because it'll help keep me filming while I'm in the gas. And I'm in the tear gas or whatever gas that's being deployed. I don't have to run away and run a block away. I can just stand there. Or at least like while the police line's moving and the gas is still there, I like can stay there like right with the police line. And show what the police are doing, because oftentimes they'll gas people, and then obviously that pushes people away, and then they just start beating people, like because there's gas and no one sees anything, and the journalists leave because you can't breathe. Well, I don't, and this is what helps me stay there, which is what this does, and this is good. That's why I have the face shield one, because if you don't have the face shield, people are out there with their respirator on, and then they wear the swimming goggles. That does nothing. Every single time, the respirator with the swimming goggles, like it's good civilian attire, but that does nothing for you. And you're gonna eat the tear gas, and your eyes are gonna burn, and you're gonna wonder why you didn't have proper protection. Anything with a face shield's good. So this works. This is solid. But I would like something better and a little bit more professional grade. Okay, because this is like you can get that. I got this on Amazon 5 years ago in 2020, and it does work. Good shit. But one time it didn't. One time in Wisconsin, they deployed some crazy gas. I don't even know what it was. Some super strong tear gas, and it went right through my filters. And I had been all year. All year was fine, but as soon as they put some, I don't know what it was, but that went through my. I was like, I had to walk away. Couldn't breathe. It was crazy. And then obviously these are level 4 plates, and I think this plate would be a 3+ I think this is like a 3+ plate, which there's different levels of armor, and the level 4 protects you against rifling, 30-06, 7.62, obviously 5.56, all the basic rifling. But the level 4 against a little bit stronger, like it's got a little bit more protection with it. I could go with the 3+, but this is on sale. Like this is a sale actually. You get 2 of them. It's a 2-pack. So it's actually good. That's why I would have gone with just a level 3+, because that's really like all you need. I mean, you don't really need level 4, but it was on sale, so that's why I went with it. So if you guys would like to support that in the background of things, I put it up on the Buy Me a Coffee. I lowered it to 1,500 because there was already like 400 in there for Buy Me a Coffee. So which I already applied, and I got the plates. Okay, there was like 430 some in there, and I used that plus the money I have, and I got the plates ordered because they were on sale. So the plates are already on their way. Okay, so that's why on the Buy Me a Coffee it's at 1,500 and not the full 1,800 that I have. Right on this, the grand total is 1,800, but for the Buy Me a Coffee, I've already taken off what we already had in the Buy Me a Coffee because you guys had money in there for me already. But I'm glad that we're doing this. Also, I ordered a bunch of clothing, and I did that with my own money. I don't need to fundraise for fucking clothes and shit. But I'll show you guys what I ordered on my Amazon quick, and I don't need funds for this. I just need it for the big shit. But I got a bunch of clothing, so that way we can just be ready to go. Let me sign in. Some stuff should be arriving soon. I don't know, like last night, like I just get visions, and my vision said to get all this shit and have it ready in a backpack. So this backpack that I got, I'm just gonna have this stuff that I'm gonna show you packed in here, like a go bag, and then when things happen, we can just go. I don't have to sit and wait and see. Like I'll have everything ready, and we can just go. And if it's an L, it's an L. But at least we got the story. Because I'm tired of sitting here, Grandpa. I'm tired of it. Where's my orders? I'm on the Amazon. It's like we're playing, like we're watching War of the Worlds. Let me make sure here. Okay, so I got a bunch of like cooling long sleeve. Trying to make sure nothing here is gonna show any personal stuff. I don't think it will. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I got undershirts, pants. I got a top, belt. I got new boots, socks. Basically, all that's going in my backpack, and that's all I need. Okay, undershirts, pants, drawers, new boots. These boots are going to be nice. I treated myself to some new boots. Not that bad, expensive either. Lightweight, because the ones I have right now are fucking heavy. They're way too heavy to be using. But I need this. I have tennis shoes too to have, but it's to do the work, to do this type of work though. It's like you're a war journalist for real. So I got to be out there with multi-terrain. You know what I mean? Multi-terrain. Got a belt, socks, type shit. The pants are nice. Okay, these are nice pants. They're lightweight pants. I've been wearing too heavy of pants. My shit's been too heavy, like sweatpants or jeans. Jeans are uncomfortable. So these will be lightweight, water resistant. Got 4 pairs of those, so 2 pair of black pants, 2 pair of like the charcoal kind. Socks type shit, you know, a belt. So all that's coming. Here's the jacket I got. Waterproof jacket just to wear. Because I don't have like one like this. So that will just be underneath my vest. Like when it gets colder, it has fleece too. I can wear that underneath. So basically, I got myself a bunch of clothes to just wear for work. That's all work attire. The stuff to wear when I'm in all of that shit that I'm trying to get. So that'll be like what I wear underneath all of the armor I'm asking for. To go underneath that. Okay, and I can obviously with the I got the right size. I had a tape measure. I had to tape measure my head to figure out what size helmet I need. But it should be enough to have like warm clothes underneath. That's why I'm ordering that, so I can wear layers. Because if it gets cold outside, you gotta wear warm shit underneath. So all in all, I ordered a bunch of clothing for myself, and that's just gonna be packed up into this backpack right here, and then I'm just ready. Because honestly, like if I would have went out there, I don't have the right gear yet. Until we get this order, then I'm all set. I have everything. I don't foresee, unless it's just various stuff I'll need to get for myself, but I can get that myself. But this is what I need help with. All right, we're already solid on our way to getting it. I already have the plates ordered. I got a bunch of clothing ordered for proper protection, and also just moisture wicking stuff, just to be a little bit more comfortable when I'm out there. But yeah, this ain't my first rodeo. I started, if you're new to the channel-ish, if you're newish, this is how I started. I didn't start sitting here at home. I had to learn how to stream this way. I didn't know how to do this. But my first streams were like during riots and shootings. And I had to quickly get gear. And it wasn't, and I still have it, but it's a bicycle helmet and some vest with it's just literally a vest. So that way I could write press on it. But there's no flak protection or any type of anything. That's what I wore. And then as it got more and more violent, I had to get better and better gear. And now, after watching assassinations and people blowing up churches and murdering kids in classrooms and the political violence that we're seeing, I'm not taking any chances this time. So I'm going full send. And I'm not even still going. There are helmets that are $1,800. There's like $2,000 helmets out here. I don't think I need that. I don't think I need to spend that much money on a helmet. People, you could argue, well, you might because it's good protection. I don't know. The reviews didn't really suggest that you need a $1,800 helmet. The Kevlar I was issued in the military is like as expensive as this. When I got my itemized, when you turn in your gear, you got your Kevlar on there. It's like 500 and some bucks. So if I served in the army for 10 years and my Kevlar was like 500 and some dollars, not to say you could do better, I don't think I need an $1,800 helmet. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And someone in the Discord message me and tell me why I need an $1,800 helmet. But I don't think I do. So I'm not doing that for now. So that's why I went with this one. But also this one had good reviews too. Can you recommend self-defense hacks for protesting? Self-defense, just flak protection. I mean, if you're going to be out there, you should have a gas mask or some type of gas protection, unless you want to eat the tear gas. People do that. That sucks. You have to have saline. Make sure you have saline to wash your eyes out. I'd wear a helmet. Bike helmet is fine. It protects against like less than lethals, but even then it'll crack your helmet. Like if you take rubber bullets to the head or I mean, just any less than lethal projectiles, you got to realize it's going to likely shatter your bike helmet, but it'll protect the initial impact, but then your bike helmet will be ruined. So, but do what you can. There's some good bike helmets. Actually, I think is some ballistic bike helmets you can get. So look into that. I mean, layers, because you're going to get hit with chalk rounds or pepper balls. So, and they'll shoot them at you. So you should wear layers. Yeah, well, layers for clothing. So you have padded protection for when you're getting shot at. Helmet, gas protection, and then the levels of what else you want from there is up to you. Like I'm doing journalism, so I'm out there, be standing out there no matter what happens. So I just need the maximum amount of protection. But a lot of people, as soon as some trouble happens, they run, understandably. So if that's going to be your first instinct, then maybe you don't spend so much money on the protection because you're not using it anyways, because you're just running. It's up to you. It really is. But if your first instinct is when the cops throw the tear gas and flashbangs out to get the hell out of there, I mean, just get the basic necessities of like what you need because you're leaving anyways. But I don't. And I need to make sure I'm protected. What's your camera gear? And we got the live stream camera coming too. That's going to be good for the backpack. But I got my Sony camera still. I got 2 lenses. I got this lens, but I also have a even better lens. But I got my live stream shit. I got my phone. I got my gimbal. Everything for like most of the US coverage is like fine with my phone. It's when we get into like the massive protests, like the No Kings protests or any massive one, it's the cell phone signal sucks. So you likely need the satellite stuff. But in general, I got camera, I got my it's not a I have a GoPro, but it's the other product. It's all in my room. I can't think of the name of it. But that'll go up here too. So I'll have like a constant video feed. I'll have like a constant video going. There's a way to connect that to live streaming too, and have your GoPro do live streaming, but I don't think the video quality would be that good. Any other questions about the press gear and stuff? About the stuff and things? Go Badgers. Boo. New boot goofing. Yep. Good comfortable shoes you can stand being in for hours and won't fall off when you need to run. Yeah, that's why I got these boots. That's why I ended up going with them, because you can stand in them for hours and your feet you're not going to get uncomfortable. But I also have a comfortable pair of tennis shoes already, so I don't need to get new tennis shoes. Probably rotate both of them. And if you get tired in the boots, then I put the shoes on, etc. You keep swapping them out. Stuff, things, and saunas. You said post it on Discord. I did. Yep. It's in the Discord. It's in the announcements. Okay, you guys got to check the announcements channel here. But this is my Discord server. Everything that I post or say that I need the community to know about is in there. Okay, guys? So feel free to check that out. All right. I think for now we take a break. I don't need to sit and just stew over the news. I mean, you guys can go watch the Flotilla if you would like to, but I'd rather have you come on over to my gaming channel and we can stand by for any news that might happen, any breaking news that might happen. We'll do a daily update on the shutdown. So tomorrow will be day 2, unless the government reopens, and I'll do a stream saying that we're reopening. But every day we're going to do a stream no matter what. Well, so for now we have scheduled streams, at least during the government shutdown. So expect a stream every day about the latest in the shutdown. Day 2, day 3, day 4, however long it goes. So expect that. But obviously when breaking news happens, make sure you guys have your notification bell turned on. Join the Discord server. Link is in the description, as I guys just showed you, because every stream I do gets put out to everybody. You get a notification, and people react to them too. Look at that. Every stream I do gets posted into here for both news and gaming for my gaming channel. So it's a one-stop shop. No matter even my softball streams too, those get posted. So if any stream I do, whether it be news, gaming, or my softball stuff, you can find it in the Discord server. Okay. I appreciate all you guys' support, especially for the help with the gear. Look at that, we already got $25 in there. I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. All right, I'm gonna get all the stuff I can, and then obviously as soon as I get it, I'll show you guys on stream. The plate should be here soon. I'm going to order the helmet next because then I can get it within a week. And then I could just be ready to go. And then when I have all this stuff, it's literally just going to be in a spot to where it's ready. And then everything's packed and all I got to do is book a flight and then I'm there. Don't need anything else. I don't need to bring shit else. All the gear I showed you, all the clothing I showed you is all I need. I don't need to wear, I don't need to bring like, I don't need to bring maybe some pajamas to wear in bed, like when I find a place to sleep. But I don't need like a big pack of shit. I have everything I need. Okay. So thank you guys for the support. More updates on that, more updates on the protests or the military going into Memphis, Portland, Chicago, wherever they're going on Mercado Media. I'll keep you guys updated. Like I said, come check out the gaming channel if you like video games. We're going to be doing a horror game later tonight. For now, I'm going to play some multiplayer. Just kind of hang out. Just because I want to wait and see if there's any news that comes out today. So I don't want to like start a story game. But if we just have a kind of a boring day of government shutdown in the U.S., then expect a horror game later on tonight, okay? Because it's spooky season. And we need something to keep us going during these times. All right, guys? You guys are awesome. Thank you to the members. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to everybody for supporting. Thank you to Suzanne for the 5 gifted, Eddie for the 5, Barbaras for the 5, level 4 plates. Yes, they are level 4. Good gear. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Sator. Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Crowned Eagle. Thank you so much, Holly. Thank you, Yup. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Holly. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much for everything you do. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Peace.